What's up, guys? How about we go a little live reaction to the Kellen Moore signing, or I guess getting him hired here with Philly? It's crazy. Figured we hop on, late. What is it? Saturday, Sunday, depending on where you're at. But yeah, Thomas and I just did the video breakdown. If you didn't watch that, check it out. Uh, Giving some more insight, breakdown, context, everything else. But it was a quick one. It was about 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. Understandably, people got to go to bed, so figure we hop on here and live Q&A. Curious to get y'all's take. Like, what do we think about the hire, Kellen Moore? It was a little bit surprising, honestly. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what to think. I'm curious if this is going to be a positive impact, or if this is going to be. I guess it will be a positive impact, but how positive of an impact is it going to be? John, burning the midnight oil, eh? Yep. I don't know what time it is, honestly. With the second kiddo, it's, you know, I don't know up from down, day from night, what time it is. Body clocks all over the place, but we're adjusting. We're figuring it out. So it's all good. But while I had some time, and wife is definitely the MVP, but other ones down for bed. So figure like, all right, hey, let's jump on here and get some reactions on the Kellen Moore news. We'll get to as many comments as we can too. Just feel free. Let me know where you're watching from too. I'll give you as many shout outs, get to comments, questions, thoughts, whatever. Screaming Jerry Lee. Hey man. Hey man. How you doing? The digital print house. I love the balance he should bring. It's a good point. It's a very key emphasis on should. How much balance is he going to bring? I think the question becomes like, how much does Sirianni allow him to bring the balance? I mean, granted, he's gonna throw the football more than running it, but I think how much of a balance in terms of what the game plan is going to be? How much does he get a say in the scheme? Or is Sirianni going to, insert himself? He will some, but it's like percentage-wise. What do y'all think? If you had to put a percentage on it, percentage of Kellen Moore's say in the offense, like, does Kellen Moore get a 70-ish% flavor of Kellen Moore offense? Is it a 50%? Is Sirianni fully involved on the and I'm talking about game plan. I think play calling, sure, Kellen's going to be there. He's going to be doing it. Maybe there's times where Nick would override him, but just as far as the scheme and game plan, what percentage are we looking at? Laura Powell, what's up? Good hire. Like it. All right. I started a poll too, so we'll see what you guys say. Again, I'll throw it up here just in case for some random reason people are not aware or just knowing what's going on. Everyone knows by now. I get that. But Adam Schefter, another big assistant move. Eagles hiring Chargers and Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. So there you go. You have Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. It's better than it will be better than it was. That's without question. Michael, what's up? I just finished the stream with you and Thomas, and see you're alive. Yeah. I figured it was too quick. It was a good reaction, but like we didn't get to hear from everybody else, So I wanted to jump on here and curious to get all y'all's takes. The comments were flooding in for the live stream during that 20, 30-minute session that we were doing. So we had to jump on here, get some reactions and thoughts and everything else. But Marcus, how's it going? Says, I love it. I believe that for any reason we stink, Moore will get promoted to head coach. Yeah, see, that's another good point, too. You have a contingency plan, I suppose. I mean, either way, Sirianni is, on the hot seat. That's a given. We talked about that so many times now. It's like, it's going to be forever. Now the issue is, it's a positive and a negative, because in a way I'm like, sweet, okay, we've got our guy. We can figure out what we're going to do. Who are we going to get in the draft? Things like that. But it feels like it's going to take forever to get to that point now. We just got to wait. I don't know. I guess could be bigger issues. Just sadly, we're not playing tomorrow. We got to watch watch teams play that hopefully the Lions win. I want to be Definitely not rooting for any 49ers. I don't think that there's any Eagles fans. I mean, seriously, are there any fans out there rooting for the Niners? Surely you can't say that you're an Eagles fan and rooting for the Niners. Michael in Wichita, Kansas, but originally from Harrisburg. Hey, all right. I've been to Wichita a couple times. Shout out to the Ibarras, who went, I guess, probably 3 or 4 times to Wichita. Used to cover Baylor football games, so swing by their road trips going to the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas. So K-State. John, biggest worry of the run game. It is integral to Jalen's success. That's for sure. It definitely is. You're going to have to keep that side of it up. James, I don't know how to feel, to be honest. I love Fangio, but I have a weird feeling about Moore. Okay. What's the weird feeling? I'm curious. I need more context on what the weird feeling is. Is it just in general, anything specific there? I like the Fangio. I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I would say I would love it yet. I hope he proves me wrong, but just in the bend but don't break, get so tired of seeing that. It'll be better. I totally think that, but I don't know that I'm in the love portion. But the weird feeling for Moore, I'm curious on that one. Let me know. One thing I will say, I'll throw this up here too. It's going to be different. So that's a positive. I'll throw that out. I mean, as far as weird feelings, it may look weird, it may be different, because Kellen Moore is going to have more motion. So it's Josh Norris, shout out to him. Shift in motion is just one of the pre-snap looks. But as we know, our beloved Birds were 32nd in motion rate at just 32%. Good gosh. Chargers were 6th. And the Cowboys were 15th in 2022. So those were with Kellen Moore. You're going to get a difference. It will be, again, assuming that it is his scheme, assuming that it's his offense, that Sirianni lets him run, it's going to be different. I'm hopeful. Yeah, percentages-wise, Screaming Jerry Lee, 50%. I hope it's more than that, but that's going to be... I won't be totally shocked, even though Sirianni said, hey, he's going to relinquish control, give it over to Kellen Moore, or at the time, I guess, whoever the OC would be. But it won't surprise me, too. I kind of need to see it to believe it at this point. Deep Space, 85%. Larpal, 70%. 50 Shades of Trey, 90-10. Yeah, Afrado. Don't care for Eachire, but it has to be better than this past season. Excuse me. I mean, I like the hires, but that's fine. Even if you're not too sure, it's going to be better. Ohana Means Family, what's up? Says, at first, I was very against the hiring. Now I don't really know how to feel about it. I definitely think this means DeAndre Swift will be gone. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if Swift's going to be hanging around. I mean, I didn't think he was going to anyway, but yeah, with the hiring here, it's probably going to be more of an emphasis on the passing game. So, would Howie even consider it? Even if he was before, is he at this point going to say, hey, let's spend on a running back versus other areas? The defense needs better personnel too. So I'm afraid Swift is going to be gone. Probably was already going to be the case. Although Tony Pollard, I mean, say what you will. Tony Pollard looked decent in Kellen Moore's system. I don't know if he does that with Swift. I don't know if he has the opportunity, but Dean Jones, what's up? Does how do the players feel about it? Has the bleeding stopped? Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see. The sad part is, are we even going to know anything of how the players feel? If they're excited about it? Will it make a difference? I'd love to. Jalen is the number one. This is probably given for maybe all of us, but Jalen's the number one for me. What does he feel about it? Because you got this new guy coming in, and it's interesting. Also, I saw Ruben Frank had put this in his article, but you notice how the QB coaches and now, I mean, offensive coordinator, I guess Brian Johnson and moving in here, but like the guys that have overseen Jalen Hurts have also been tied to Dak Prescott. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it's just random connections there, but Brian Johnson coaching Dak Prescott at Mississippi State and Kellen Moore, obviously, with Dallas. But it is kind of ironic, I guess, how there's some similarities there, and then you're going to bring him in. It should help the receivers, though. Like I'm really excited about that. Example of the route chart for Keenan Allen, Kendall Beck shared. I mean, that's a thing of beauty right there. Look at those routes. Look at how magnificent that is, and how we never got that all year. The underutilization of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I know we've talked about it, but I feel like it's still very, like, I don't know. I feel like it's very underwhelming and underestimated to how terrible it was at times. Like that's beautiful right there. That is perfect. How you're going to try to use a weapon like Keenan Allen, and the fact that A.J. Brown still was as impressive as he was, and then you're able to go in there and use that. I think it'd be drastically different. Should make things easier for those guys too. I mean, I already took them in fantasy, whenever I could, but this offensive system, you definitely have to consider AJ and Devontae. Coburn, what's up, man? I'm a fan of this signing. There you go. I am too. I don't know if it's perfect, but Keith, Josh, I love that your optimism, but I think deep down you don't like this. Why? Why is that? Why do you think I don't like this? You know that I'm optimistic about just about everything, but I wouldn't say I don't like this. It's funny how I did a show about Eric Bieniemy and saying it felt like Sirianni had his man. I will say that. So for those that watched the previous show that I'd done early this morning released, but the positional coaches being fired and being let go, moving around, it felt like you already had a decision, because otherwise you're not going to let those guys go, assuming that you can let your offensive coordinator have a say and, okay, all right, I'm going to probably bring in whoever I want for QB coach or for whatever, So it felt like there was an idea of who that might be. And so, of course, I mentioned Eric Bieniemy, and then all of a sudden they make this signing. The same thing happened with Keely Ringo. Y'all remember whenever Keely Ringo was not getting signed in the offseason, and we're like, man, what the heck? Why are we waiting till last second? And I released a video literally the day of, like 30 minutes before, and I was like, the reason why Keely Ringo is not being signed, and then they break the news like Keely Ringo has been signed officially. So I don't know. But I'm optimistic. I think it'd be good. Ohana, do you think this is a good move for Jalen? This is a good question. I would love to know what he thinks about it. I do. I really do. I think it's good for Jalen. I think it'll be a guy who helps him see the field better. Not that Brian Johnson shouldn't or couldn't have been able to do that, but for some reason, there were just glaring holes and issues and differences in play calling. I think being a first-time play caller, Brian Johnson, I feel like he's a good QB coach. I mean, we saw that 2 seasons ago. He could be a good QB coach, but maybe he proves us wrong. Maybe there was more with Sirianni. I know Sirianni was certainly involved. I just don't know what percentage-wise, and perhaps it's a combination of both. Like Sirianni stepping in there and taking control because he didn't feel confident in Brian Johnson to do that. But I don't know. I feel like there's you have to like the fact that Kellen Moore has called plays before, and not only called plays, but he's been effective at doing it. So that's where it's got to help Jalen. It's going to get him in better spots. It's also going to make the defense not be as predictable, or the defense knowing the offense is as predictable. So for sure, this is going to help Jalen. I'm going to be interested to see him under center. Like, seriously. When was the last time? I think we had 2 times? 2 times under center for us all year. So you're going to get that. You're going to get play action. Should definitely make a difference. Ziggy Buffalo, all who want to be enemy, is 63% pass, 39% run. That's I'm not sure the math exactly adds up on that one, but I get your point. Yeah. Michael A, what's up? Is AJ Brown going to be back next season? Of course, sure he is. Why would we think not? I guess that's the question. I mean, honestly, it's like I get the media, AJ being hated on and all the other stuff, but seriously, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be back. He's got Jalen. He's got a new offensive coordinator. You can't tell me that as a wide receiver, if you're AJ Brown, you're Devontae Smith, whether you saw the news now or maybe you knew prior because they're I wouldn't doubt the fact that perhaps, you let some of your playmakers know, hey, we're considering about hiring Kellen Moore or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe you hear the news late tonight, tomorrow, whatever. But if you're a wide receiver, if you're AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, you got to love this. You're going to get a offensive coordinator who knows how to dial up offensive schemes. Again, I threw it up here just a second ago, but I'll throw it up again. Like, there's no route trees that we saw that looked like this. None of them this season. Go look at the next gen of Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, whoever it is, and they're totally terribly utilized in the offense. And again, it's probably a combination of Nick Sirianni too, but thank goodness Sirianni's not going or shouldn't be if he holds up to his word, but you're going to get some beautiful routes and more effective routes. It will make life much easier on Jalen. It'll make life much easier on the offensive line. The offensive line wasn't up to, the standard, I guess, from 2 seasons ago, but I don't think it was as bad as what it looked like because, again, you had these long developing routes. You didn't have creativity, and they just had to hold out for much longer than you should have. It'll be much quicker. You're going to see guys open a lot faster. That's why I say I'm optimistic. Now, you're going to run the football less? Sure. I'll give you that. You're going to run the football less. Yeah, here's a Devontae one I was going to try and throw up. Difference of, let's see, what week was that? Here you go. You're going to see the difference of these? Interesting. So you got, not sure I just love those. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of creativity with Devontae Smith. So we got some outs and some deep. What are we doing? I'm just saying, you want to look at the differences? That's the easiest and biggest difference for me right off the bat. You're going to have receivers that actually have routes that run to effectiveness and challenge the defense for once. Anish, what's up? You got a chat after live stream? Dedication. I appreciate that. Trying to do as much as we can. Definitely get to a super chat here. Let's see here. It's Finesse the God. How's it going? 5-bomb here. I think we're most likely saying goodbye to the RPO game, though, and we're going to need a power running back. That's a fair point, actually. Haven't talked about the running game too much. We can get into that. Curious to get y'all's thoughts. If you haven't hit the like button, by the way, it helped me out. I appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. You guys know that. But seriously, like, I think it's going to be different. So that's fine. And you know what? If you lose a little bit of the RPO, that's also okay. Jalen's going to have to grow. He's going to progress. But you've seen, like, if you're believing in your franchise quarterback, you pay him $255 million, I think he can make a couple of those changes. But to your point, yeah, power running back. I could see that. I really do feel like and you guys may feel the same way, but the starting running back for us is not on the roster right now. It'll be either in the draft or it'll be free agent. And I don't know. We'll see if is that in free agency, do you think? Or do you guys think that's going to be someone in the draft that we go after? Because sadly, I don't think it's going to be DeAndre Swift as much as I may like that. But Derrick Henry is out there. I know there's lots of comments and possibilities on that side. Yeah, Remo. That's a good point. Didn't we learn from the Titans how stupid trading AJ Brown is? It should be out of the question. I think it is. I mean, come on. They're not actually considering that. Going back to the chart, though, Michael says that chart is depressing. Yeah, Ziggy Buffalo, was that really? That was his route tree. I know, it's hard to believe. But Devontae Smith, that was his route tree. It's the beauty of next-gen stats. Like, you could go look up different receivers, pull up the route tree, the routes they ran in specific weeks and everything. But that was legit Devontae Smith's route tree. And this is just one game. Like, this is the only one that I had here saved. But you can go look at Devontae Smith, go look at A.J. Brown's route trees, and it is the most appalling thing ever. I know that we saw it on the field, but sometimes it doesn't compute until you go and like look at the analytics of it and go, "What? Are you kidding me? Like, what offensive coordinator, what scheme, what system tells you, regardless of what you're doing with the quarterback situation there, that's going to be effective route running?" There's a reason why the Eagles receivers hardly ever got open. I mean, it just blows my mind, the fact that you could even say you're a head coach, an offensive mind, an offensive genius that Sirianni is, and you're going to run those things. Anish David, on the first day of camp, this is a slant. Something like that. Yeah. Teach just the fundamental concepts. The receivers know it. They're just like, man, I don't know, for some reason BJ never had us run this thing. Yeah, they ran plays last year like I used to call plays in Madden as a kid, screen after screen and QB runs. Yeah, I think that's the issue whenever you start going, man, I this looks familiar. That was the most dominant, and I guess still kind of, but yeah, I remember used to do the screenplay all the time. I don't get to play near as much. I wish I did, but back in the day, playing quite a bit. You get Shady on a running back screen or Sproles on one of those, just automatic. You pick up 10, 15 yards. Ohana says, do you think this will be 100% Kellen Moore's offense? Sadly, no. Percentage-wise, if I had to guess, I know I asked the question previously to you guys, but I'd say 70? Is that too high? 70%? I'd like it to be more, but I feel like 70% would be about where I'm thinking, which would be fine. Again, if it's above 50%, I think we could be happy, but there's the possibility of more. You got to let him come in. If you're hiring him in this position, you have to. And I think the part that we can at least maybe hold on to hope is that, remember, Nick Sirianni met with Jeffrey Lurie, and you got to understand that conversation was probably very similar to the conversation that he had with Doug Peterson, of the basically ultimatum, like, hey, look, we have to make changes. You need to relinquish a little bit of control here. We got to have some change. We got to have some different guys, maybe in power, perhaps over offense, over get some new scheming in on the defense too, or at least a different mind there who can run the Fangio scheme. So get the man himself. So it should be different, and maybe that's the saving grace. Maybe Lurie's the one who will be like, yeah, sorry, Nick, you gotta back off from there, as much as you might want to be in it. I don't know if it was Nick's just like kind of joking or if he's being serious, but whenever he said, hey, I'm not going to be in the offensive room. I can't remember who the reporter was, but you guys know, if you listen to the press conference, they basically what do you do here? What's your role as the head coach? And he says, lots of long-winded answer that means nothing. And finally gets to the point of say, well, I might not be in the offensive meeting as much. I might go to the defensive meeting. I might spend some time there. Might go to the special teams a little bit. Just some sort of change. Here we go. Another super chat here. Zan Shelton, appreciate the 2, says, how much would Saquon cost to come here? Let's see. That is, I mean, because they did the. I mean, what do you think? Because they did the contract on that side. Let's see. It's the um. I'm just looking at regular running back averages there, but I mean, he wanted quite a bit, and you got to think he's going to try to test it again going out onto the market. So he's 10 million for New York. I mean, with his talent, he's probably gonna. I would imagine he's probably gonna say what that's the starting rate. He was upset about it. Remember, he was holding out for a long time or not threatening to not play. And I don't think there's actually ever gonna happen. But yeah, like it'd be cool. It'd be great. I mean, have a running back like that. But you know, again, I think it comes back to who you just signed as the offensive coordinator. It probably makes it even less likely. This Philly fan says Eagles cap space 20.2 roughly million. Yeah, it should be good, but it'll change naturally as you start getting, players adjusted or contracts restructured, things like that. Anish David, yeah, Saquon 10 plus million. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Cool Rains, good pickup. Eagles like it. Dallas fans will hate this signing. Maybe. I've got some of those. I've got some. You guys know it being in Dallas, but I've got some Dallas fans who are letting me know that this is terrible. So there's always good and bad. But maybe I like that, the fact that they're trying to be like, oh yeah, you just wait. You don't know. Just wait till you see what Kellen Moore does or doesn't do. I'm optimistic. Again, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that it's the most ideal, but again, you can knock everything to death. No one, honestly, you can't give me a single name where any of us are going like, oh yeah, that's the perfect guy for the job. There's not a better job or not a better guy out there. There's no issues. There's no concerns. There's no worries about him being able to take over. So I think it's all right. Big Track, what's up? Said 80% for Kellen Moore. I'd be happy with that. I would love that. BL, appreciate it. You and Thomas are the best. Found out from you guys. Found out from you guys before Twitter. Appreciate you supporting. Trey, question here. Who's going to be the interim coach, Fangio or Moore? I mean, what are we already just saying that Sirianni's going to be gone? He's on the hot seat. That's without a question, but maybe a follow-up to that. But I guess I'll answer it. If you had an interim coach in that situation, it's probably going to be Fangio because I don't think it's a long term. Now you might, I guess maybe you turn it over to Kellen Moore, but it depends on when you fire him. Like, is it what during the middle of the season we're doing terrible? All of a sudden he's got to go and someone take over just because Fangio has experience as being head coach. Not that it's successful, necessarily, but like just being in there and the regular responsibilities. I would assume you'd say, well, let's let Kellen keep just focusing on the offense and not have to worry too much about that, but. I don't know. Maybe the follow-up question to that: how bad would it have to be for Sirianni to be fired? Like, what's it going to take? If he makes playoffs, is his job safe again? Even if it's just making playoffs, like how far? Where's that over under? How far does Sirianni have to go to maintain or keep his job? Cool, right? Josh has got here. Do you like the Moore signing? I do. I don't know on a scale of 1 to 10. If I were to say 1 is I hate it, and 10 over the moon about it, I'm probably the immediate knee jerk reaction is I'm probably at like a 7, yeah, maybe a 7. I was gonna say 7 to 8, somewhere around there. because I do like the fact that there's so many changes that you're going to see. I threw these up here a second ago, but I'll put it up here again. Um, Running game, might not be as great, just as many times as you do it, but you're going to get more motion. As frustrating as it was to not have that, we're going to get some motion. So thank goodness. We should not be last in the league in motion, and maybe that's going to drive Sirianni crazy because he hates it, or for some reason is totally against it. But I'm excited to see the difference on that side. Spike Witwicky, what's up? This guy doesn't run the ball either. True. But again, I guess like who would you want? Like I've seen some comments, or I saw comments on the previous live that we did right before this. But I mean, the enemy seems to be the I think the next favorite, or maybe the favorite if you didn't want Kellen Moore. But the enemy's probably running the football less, right? I mean, the concern that you're not going to have running the football, I don't know if it's as big of a deal because you were going to get someone like that anyway. Plus Sirianni and probably even Howie and the analytics team because they love that department and Lurie, and you just paid your quarterback $255. It was always going to trend in the direction of favoring the passing game. So I don't know. That's where I'm at. Maybe not. It just seems like if you're going to have one of those two, you're already not going to be running the football. Yeah, that's the question I was asking, Michael. What does our record have to be next year for Nick to get fired? I'm curious to hear what y'all think. Like, what does it have to be? How bad does it have to get for Sirianni to lose his job? There's Eden the remix. Sirianni will lose his job when consistent confusion becomes apparent. Kind of like the last 7 weeks of the season, I guess. If he does it again. How bad would that have to be? Here we go. I like this stat here. Laura Powell with Kellen's Cowgirls were in shotgun 56% of the time compared to the Eagles this year being 89% in the gun. I look forward to the change. Me too. It'll be less of a high school offense. 89% of the time. It's not shocking, but it's like, because we all saw it, but just seeing the number, it just kind of makes you go, wow, okay, that was literally that many times. 89% of the time in the shotgun and probably 120% of the time ran screen passes. Oh my goodness, I'll be so happy to not see that. It's a fair point. Anish, hoping pre-snap motion doesn't lead to illegal shift penalties. We didn't have discipline last year. Yeah, we had a lot more penalties than previous year. I guess you take the possibility of it. It's a good point, but Here you go. Below Black, I think him with Stoutland, though, I'm sure they're going to game plan together, and that's low-key exciting. Don't forget about that. That's true. It should be exciting to have Stoutland with the ability to, like, it's going to be, again, you've got Jalen under center, and so I'm just trying to think, like, Stoutland is a mastermind. We know that. Like, incredible O-line coach, going to have the running game rocking as the running game coordinator. But it's also, like, again, I just put the stat, like 89% of the time you're in the gun. your options are somewhat limited if you're a run game coordinator because you're going like, bro, you look at Sirianni, you say, okay, you want to run, you want to be in the gun 89% of the time. I could do some stuff, but we are limited. There's only so much that we can do from that. And so, hey, if it's 56% of the time or whatever, if it's closer to that number in the gun, then awesome. You're gonna have snaps under center. You're gonna have a lot of different looks. You're gonna have motion involved into that. And I'm just saying, as a run game coordinator, if I'm stout, I am like, heck yes, thank you. We can have a little bit more creativity here. So maybe you don't run the football as much, but the running game could be more efficient, and that's what I'm interested to see. I'm excited about the change. I'll say that. Record for Sirianni to be fired though, 1-6 is what Anish is saying. 3-6 at 3-6 may get him fired. Yeah, possibly. 610 Josh. This is not my burner account, but good name. 12 wins is the minimum for him to keep his job. Got to have 12 wins. Does he have to win a playoff game though? If it's 12 wins, I'm sure you're in the playoffs, but does he need to win a playoff game, or is it just as long as you get there, 12 wins? Alfredo, 2-8. P toilet. Quez in motion typically means bubble screen incoming. Thankfully, Quez won't be here, so that maybe will ruin some of the bubble screens. But yes, that was usually the automatic. It's either Quez is going to be in the bubble screen, or well, I guess if he's not in motion, half the time he doesn't know what the play is. Run a deep shot to Quez. I wonder where he'll go. Interesting take here. Cool Reigns. You can say I was wrong if I'm wrong, but I have always said Nick wasn't the problem. It was the OC and DC. He said it was him to protect his guys. Yeah, I mean, that's a thought. I will say I disagree. I strongly think that it's Sirianni thinking that he's an offensive mind and he's not. But to what extent? I do believe that Nick covers for his guys. We've seen it a number of times. Whether it was the what was it? The end of Seattle game, saying he's calling a play for a penalty, basically, like that's the only hope in that situation. You whoever in their right mind is going, oh, okay, hey, we need to dial up something here. Let's see if we can get a pass interference. Like that'd be cool, but you don't run a pass play. Is that the main part of it? And so AJ coming back and say, hey, he stuck up for us. Obviously, that's foolish to say it, and he didn't believe it. So yeah, I agree. Like he sticks up for his guys, but I don't know. I can't say it as far as that side, as he's a problem. But he could be a CEO, head coach. He could be like a Mike Tomlin or a John Harbaugh or Dan Campbell I talked about recently. So you don't have to necessarily call the plays. Sadly, you might lose the coordinators, so it could become, well, we got to continue to do this. But if you're having this success, I mean, to a certain point, you take a Super Bowl? I would gladly sign up. I think everybody would. Would you gladly sign up for a Super Bowl if that means Kellen Moore's gone next year? Like you win a Super Bowl and Kellen Moore's gone? I would. If long term you're like, well, crap, we got to go back to this searching for an OC. All right, fine, but we won a Super Bowl. We're just not in the part of some of the teams that do have head coaches that are more involved in the game plan like that. That's fine. Ziggy Buffalo, maybe Nick learns from his mistakes. Does anyone get a chance to change? Sure. Why not? He has a chance to change. I just want to see it maybe quicker than we've seen previously, because we talked about it for so many weeks. But yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know. I've made tons of mistakes. I think we've all made tons of mistakes in our lives. The only unfortunate side is like we're not getting paid $5 million a year to try to avoid those mistakes. So you're a little more scrutinized, but Sure, to a certain point, he can hopefully learn from his mistakes, correct it, get better. Yeah, super chat here. 50 Shades of Trey. Appreciate that. The 5 bomb. Quez going to KC to join every other fast receiver who dropped the ball. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if watch tomorrow. How many drops is KC gonna have tomorrow? Or today? I guess it's today. Hours are off, depending on what time zone you're in. But seriously, that is the fact that they're in the championship game is unreal. The amount of drops. But that does feel like that's the right spot for him. You join him up with Kadarius Toney, MVS, Quez Watkins. My gosh. Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's already irritated, but could you imagine Quez Watkins on the KC? That's too funny. I'm curious if he's not going to be. Who's going to take Quez? I mean, if you've watched him as a team, I know he's got the speed. I'm sure someone will probably take a flyer, but I don't know. You guys know the hatred that I have with Quez and probably the understanding for the most part, but I know we'll see there. Mayers, what's up? What is up, my guy? I see you stoked about the signing. What's your thoughts on the type of players we will get offensively? I mean, honestly, I don't know if we're going to have a whole lot of guys that we're going to get offensively besides who we already have. Probably a running back. I mentioned that earlier, but probably get someone else with Kenny G. Kenny G's not your everyday or every down back. You might get a more power back, possibly, to utilize, especially if you're going to, if you're going to run more plays from under center. That could work, whether it's a play action or you're actually going to run the football from under center. I don't know who that ends up being, though, because, again, like, is he going to invest heavily in the running back position? No, as much as I've seen some Derrick Henry comments. It'd be fun. That would be awesome. And he was linked to Philly, previously. So it would be cool. But honestly, again, like for offensive side, you're probably not going to get too many. You may get I'm thinking like a lineman maybe in the draft. Defense is where I see personnel changing drastically. I think you're going to get lots of changes, free agency, draft. I hope that Howie goes after a linebacker. You guys have seen several different shows that I've done about that, but if he can maybe correct himself for the issues that we've had, and maybe you do get a bigger name. Davey says here, Josh, it don't matter what coordinators we hire, Sirianni is going to stop this team making the playoffs next season. I hope not. I think he can get out of his own way. Maybe that's crazy to believe after what we've seen, but you just hired a guy. You said you were going to do it. Lurie probably held him to the fire, will hold him to the fire, we would think. And then Fangio is complete control of defense. So, yeah. Reactions to Quez, Michael H. Quez will fit right in. Yeah. That's who they need. Joey, this has got to be sarcasm. Come on, man. Like, likelihood of Quez staying, 0% chance that Quez Watkins is back. You cannot convince me any way possible that this team believes in Quez Watkins after what he's done or not done for this group. They have got to be moving on so fast from Quez, and I don't care. Yes, Sirianni sticks up for his players. He's not going to throw him under the bus. He said so many times how he's a believer in Quez Watkins and everything else, but the whole, Quez basically saying like he's gonna show everybody who's talking bad about him in the offseason, I don't think he did much of that. There's no way this dude's coming back. Philly fan, is the tush push coming back? Heck yeah. That may be because Sirianni said there's a little bit. There's a couple things that we do that we'll probably insert into the offense. That can't change. Way too effective. Only way that changes is if the NFL outlaws it. So joke sauce. I'm calling Quez to Carolina. Okay, possibly. Ziggy Buffalo, with our luck, Quez might get 1,000. And can you imagine if Quez got 1,000? I mean, let's start lower than that after what we've seen recently from him. But yeah, then you're just saying, well, we didn't use him the right way, which maybe so. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking myself out of Quez is not going to be back here. Not that I want Quez back, but if we're saying that the offensive system was terrible and we didn't have routes that were run worth anything, maybe you look at it and Kellen Moore even says like, I don't know, like he's got some speed. We might be able to do something with him. Again, hear me out. I don't want him, but maybe I should change the answer that I had of 0% chance for the Eagles and Sirianni. Okay, fine. Like 5% chance that he comes back. Big Trag, Miami. They love the speed. Why not just go ahead and keep him up? Cool Rain, someone would trade Quez in Madden. Trade for Quez in Madden? Yeah, they would. Speed kills in Madden. That's the benefit on that side. But in the in the real NFL, not always. It can with the right system, with the right scheme. So again, maybe that comes back to the original question on that side. Michael H. Didn't more Quez's targets end in interceptions than receptions? They did, sadly. If we're talking about the 20-plus targets, I think that Shane Half had that initial tweet and the numbers there, but it was like over the last 3 seasons, I think it was something to the effect of like he had, what was it? I'm going to make it up. I'd have to go back and look. I was trying to see if I have it here too, but it was something terrible. I remember thinking like, 8 targets of 20 plus yards and like 4 interceptions or 5 interceptions, something like that. Only like 1 catch maybe. Shoot, I can't find it. But yes, it was terrible. Kenneth Butler, Jalen for MVP next season. What do y'all think? You think Jalen for MVP should be better? Maybe that's a little bit premature. We should just wait and see what the offense looks like first before we put those extra expectations. We saw what that did this season. I kind of like flying under the radar at least a little bit. So maybe it'll be better. Alfredo Bradbury staying? You think they'll just eat the 17 million? Yeah, I don't think it's the 17, but I think it was the 12 for the dead cap. I haven't looked into what the specifics would be, if there's anything of when they cut him or what they were to do, or I guess even if Howie were to try to restructure something. You might have some options there, but man, I don't know. It's I don't want him here. Oh, I guess a follow up on maybe it was a Bradbury staying. You think they'll eat the 17 million? Maybe not. Yeah, Bradbury can't tackle. He can't do a lot of things. We know that. You got to get that's another thing too. You've got to get in the draft like linebackers, maybe hopefully target corner in the draft or free agency. We need a couple different position players, that's for sure. Andrew, what's up? This is Josh. I thought you and Thomas finished putting in the OT. Yeah, figured, hey, we'll come in here, hang out for a little bit. I wasn't going to bed anyway, so I'm a night owl. Plus, again, with the baby and schedule shift and everything else, I really don't know what time it is half the time. So, gonna hop on here and get everyone's thoughts on Kellen Moore. Do we like the hire? Do we not like the hire? The pros, cons, because everyone has pros and cons with every one of the favorite coordinators we would have gone with. And who it impacts most, how the benefit for Jalen and wide receivers and everything. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. Usually try to be. Question on Jalen for MVP. Below Black, comeback player, maybe? Yeah, possibly. It really fell off, with the whole team, naturally, but 10-1, lose 7 games, get in the playoffs. It just got so bad. Even the percentage, too. That was, let's see, what was it? It was because we were trending. I think I did a short on it, maybe. And it ended up kind of backfiring, unfortunately. As most of my things do, it seems like. Anytime I predict something, it goes the opposite. Like, I got to stop. I got to stop predicting maybe positivity or perhaps just start predicting negativity, and then it'll work in that favor. But let's see. Yeah, I'll throw this up here. Found it. Yeah, here you go. So here's Jalen's stats and the completion percentage. That's what I was 65.4% this season after a 66.5% last year. The sad part is that Jalen was doing so well that he was trending towards like very easily bumping up his completion percentage from last year. Like Ruben Frank did an article. I think Zach Berman did. There was somebody else who did an article on it too, of saying like Jalen Hurts is going to be the first quarterback in like 10 or the first quarterback in like 20 years of being able to have successive improvements in completion percentage and in other areas. And so it kind of felt like, oh, cool, it's a lock. We're going in that direction. But the final remaining games of this year just destroyed it. It ruined it. And it's so crazy. But again, it's the complete drop off of where this team was at. But yeah, it was after the Chiefs game. So where is that at here? I'll zoom it in so you can see it a little bit easier too. So after the Chiefs game, trending in the right direction, right? So you got all these 66, 78, 62, 67, 74, 76, 73. Great position there. And then after that, Buffalo, we won, but 58%, 57%, 67, not so bad against Dallas, but the game was trash. I was there. I had to live through that one. That was terrible. 54% Seattle, 63, 78 against Arizona. That wasn't as bad. But then 43%. I know that the dislocation of the finger and all that, but playoffs, not so bad completion percentage. But again, just the season as a whole, he wasn't able to improve the completion after it looked like it was going to be a shoe-in. Kind of crazy. Team Grimm, who should we get from free agency? Well, there's a lot of people, I guess, but what position are we talking about? Specific position in mind, or just anyone in general? Anish David here says, I think we have a chance of spending on safety in free agency and drafting a linebacker. Either or, honest. I mean, vice versa. If you want to spend on a linebacker and draft a safety, perhaps that's that's all right with me. Or we can go the other route. Just don't have a Kevin Byard, hopefully. Thought he was going to be the answer whenever Howie got him. I was like, man, this is going to be great. Maybe he can make up for it. Infamous? Or is it infamous with a Z? I don't know exactly how to pronounce that one. We got Rodgers coming in. What are you thinking of him? I'm hopeful, but I'm also like tempering expectations because he's been out for a year, so I'm feeling like the rust that he has, and trying to get in a flow and everything else. The dude is gifted for sure. So I think he can make an impact, but it just depends on how quickly. He might even help in the return game, which is crazy to say. I know because like Covey's been good, very good. Maybe use him more for like kick returns, but he can be explosive. So I'm hopeful, but I don't know that I'm at the point of. And I would love to know that, like, how much is Howie envisioning him impacting the defense, and having a role to play. But if it's me personally, I feel like I almost have to go into it treating it where, like, I mean, I hope it's not, but maybe it's where he's just a guy for right now. And so you're like, yeah, there's a body, but we need to not act like we have, a specific spot filled or someone there to start at least. And then if he proves you wrong, great. I mean, you have extra depth, but that'd be the goal. Let's see. Gage here. Isaiah Rodgers returns after 1 year suspension. Yep. He played a lot on the outside, maybe a full offseason. Moved Bradbury inside to try and salvage the situation. I guess. I mean, something with Bradbury, or just get rid of him. But yeah, if you're going to try to salvage something. Michael A., are we keeping Mariota next year? I mean, it probably doesn't matter one way or another. If I had to guess, I would say no. Just system-wise, Kellen Moore, maybe bring in a veteran, someone who's more familiar with the scheme, can help Jalen too. You're gonna have obviously a QB coach that'll do that. So I'm interested to see what positional coaches will come in, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that Mariota necessarily jumps off the page at anybody. So there's, I don't know. I haven't looked, but I'm just saying that there's probably options that you can go with that'll be just as serviceable. I mean, Jalen's your dude, so you're just saying like, hey, who can we get here in case worst case scenario? I would think though probably not. Go James. What kind of offense? Kellen Moore run. Also pass happy. No balance. Yeah, it's a little bit more pass, but it'll be at least the changes like we were talking about. You got under the center, not in the gun 89% of the time like the Birds have been. Get to this comment here. I know Team Grant had a question of which in free agency. I meant cornerback or safety. Okay, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, Jalen Johnson's like the favorite for pretty much everybody, it feels like. So I can. That would be great. I don't know how realistic it is, but yes, you got to get a corner. So that would be awesome. Let's see. Let's take a look here. I don't know if Howie's going to spend a lot of money on. I would like for him to, but the money that we already have out there on corners, I'm curious. Is he going to just say, well, let's figure it out with Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo maybe pick up like a mid-range corner and then see if it works. I don't think that's the answer, but just in terms of like how he's going to do. Yeah, like take a look here at the cornerbacks free agency. I mean, sure, you'd love to have some of these other ones up here, but Adore Jackson, Kendall Fuller, Stephon Gilmore. Age probably too much for Stephon Gilmore, but still Kendall Fuller. Kenny Moore was linked to Philly much earlier. Was that? I think trade deadline wise. So that dude's a baller. Like I really like Kenny Moore. I don't know that you'd go after him, or I don't know if how he would. But the way that guy plays on the field, I think he'd be really good. But question on outside corner, who you're going to go with there? I think Keely Ringo showed some promise. Again, though, do you go into this to the year saying like we're going to keep Slay and Slay is the number one option? Then you're going to have the others outside of that. That's I don't know. That's a tough question there. Super chat here. Let me get to this one here. 50 Shades of Trey, appreciate it, says, I think we stick with the corners we have with Ringo and Eli, get bigger roles, and Rodgers coming in, keep Slay, cut JB post-June, and take the $4 million cap hit. There you go. I kind of agree. Like I was saying, just to say it, it feels like there's some promise, there's some not so great at times from the games, but they were rookies. You get it. I think we all understand that. Ricks and Ringo. You got to have some depth, so there's probably someone else that they're going to go after. But yeah, I would assume just cap space wise and where that's going, you try to make it work with those. You get a free agent, kind of the mid-tier range. I don't know. Even at Eli Apple, like I don't know if I'm in love with that one, but the fact that he played previously with Fangio, I mean, he was in Miami. Like that's a name you could throw out there as a possibility. Not saying I'm in love with that one, but it doesn't feel like as much as again I said Jalen Johnson, some of the other like a big name signing. I can't envision Howie going out there and doing that. I know you guys are saying definitely cut JB. Seeing some comments though too. Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed, I get it. He's a stud. Jalen Johnson, yeah, there's other comments too. Jalen Johnson. I mean, I'd love those, sure, but I just realistically, that's where I'm at. I'm kind of like, I don't think that's going to be where Howie's going with. And would he go with linebacker? Does Howie get a linebacker on that side? Free agency, possibly. Yeah, I'm curious. I'll come back to this in a second. I'm curious to get y'all's thoughts on kind of identity of the team. But before I get there, I was going to bring up. Let's see. Here's a tweet. Oh, actually, got a super chat real quick. Let me go to this one and then I'll get to it. Let's see. Jay Shaw. Oh, $2. Appreciate the 2-bomb, but no comment. Just comment back, Jay. You don't have to super chat again. Just comment back, and I'll throw up whatever. As long as it's like okay to throw up it, but I'll throw up your comment. So whatever you got, let me know. I'll stand by. While you're doing that though, I'm just gonna throw up this on Twitter from Outside the Birds. Shout out to Anthony DeBona. You guys know we've had him on a couple different times, and he is really good about tracking the team, following his prediction, or maybe not prediction, I should say, but his preference was Kellen Moore. So for those that caught the live on Friday, that's who he was saying. He's like, hey, I would love Kellen Moore. So he got it. He's pretty happy about this, obviously. But the question is, like, who do they go after in terms of defensive staff and even offensive staff? Now that we know coordinators, who that's going to be, do they bring in their own guys? And if they do, who are we looking at? So again, Anthony does a great job breaking this down, but you're looking at some potentials of what might make sense. Guys who are familiar or who have coached with Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. So there's some possibilities. Again, you got linebackers coach. Feels like a given it's going to be Mike Caldwell or Joe Barry because those are the only two that we've seen right now that have interviewed. Ronaldo Hill, would love that one. Joe Casper returned to Philly. Remember, he was the what was it, defensive pass game coordinator, I believe. I could be misremembering that. But yeah, and then Steve Donatel as an assistant. That dude was the Minnesota defensive coordinator. I think that I'm not sure of how many, but Steve Donatel has been just about everywhere with Vic Fangio, so I'd have to believe that's his immediate call. Now I don't know if he's looking to get back into it, probably after taking a year off, or not being in the coaching position for a year. But yeah, this would be likely for me just looking at these and seeing again those connections of preference, because I mean it's like with anything else. I've been a recruiter, but like any job that you work, how often is it all of a sudden you get a job and you're like, oh hey, I got a buddy who I'm trying to get over. Like it just happens. Like the referral business is where you always go. Like things that we would always say is like if you are looking to hire someone else, it's I think 15 times more likely off of a referral. So it's the same way. It's like, oh cool, hey, we're gonna bring over the system. They know the scheme. I'm gonna be curious though. I've bookmarked it. Obviously, you guys can see that I've bookmarked it. So we'll see how accurate Anthony is in his prediction. But really good stuff from Outside the Birds, as you guys know. Just wanted to throw that up there, though. Let me get Jay's comment here. He didn't have the comment earlier in the Super Chat, but I just saw him comment here now. So there it is. All right. It says, draft a cornerback in the first round, grab Jalen Johnson, pick up Queen in free agency, and draft Trotter in the second round. Defense is fixed. Still have Isaiah Rodgers in waiting. All right. Hey, man, that's sounds great. I don't know, like, financially, if we're talking about how they're going to make all that happen, but you fix a lot of holes there if you've got all those guys. I mean, can you imagine? You got a Patrick Queen and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as your linebacker. You got Nakobe Dean, also as Howie and Nick and all those guys are saying they're very confident in him. It feels like he's probably going to be the green dot unless the stars align or Howie just was completely lying. But it feels like they're going to try to give that another go. So sadly, that makes me think it's like you're going to get just a serviceable linebacker, as much as I would hate that. But hey, you know what? It's a great dream there. If that happens, or even half of those things happen, probably I'm pretty happy. Yeah, Anish. Anthony's a great follow. Loved his work for years. Yep, Anthony is awesome. He is one of the best. It's cool how we connected too, literally just like over Twitter, and then he was like, "Hey man, you want to come on?" And so we've had him on a couple different times. You guys know is breaking down everything else, but we'll have him on quite a bit for draft coverage and everything else because he stays on top of just about everything for Senior Bowl and players and scouts and like again, you guys know Anish like following him, but like for people that don't follow him, the tweets that he has sometimes are literally like he'll tweet a picture maybe, or even just like, hey, saw a random video with an Eagles scout like in the blurred background at some random workout, and he's like, all right, hey, the Eagles might be interested in this guy, and then turns out all of a sudden they are interested in him, or they may even draft him or pick him up as like a UDFA. So he's like, I say he's an insider. I know he doesn't work for the Birds, or like specifically cover them, but the coverage he has is to me it's second to none. Like he knows so much about this, so I get a lot of the knowledge from him. But yeah, shout out to Anthony. Keith, Josh, you think Kellen Moore will utilize Smitty like the Heisman he is? He's yet to make a Pro Bowl when he deserves to. Yeah, without question, he deserves to. Yeah, short answer of that is yes, absolutely. Again, for people that are maybe just joining that didn't see this earlier, I'll throw it up again. This is let's see. There's Devontae Smith's route tree. It's only one game, but it is very similar if you go look at a lot of the other games in there. That is not a lot of creativity. And is that the look of utilizing a Heisman, former Heisman, and a player that could definitely be Pro Bowl? In my mind, could certainly be an All-Pro even, and he's just not getting the type of usage that he should or could be? Yes. I think you could use him a lot more like CeeDee Lamb, honestly. Move him around, get him in motion, have him in the slot at times. He can obviously, play on the outside, but like get that dude in so many different spaces. He's a mismatch. He is a mismatch waiting to happen. His ability to route run is bar none. You've heard it from AJ. You've heard it from all the other guys on the team. Smitty's the best route runner. Like without question, he's the best route runner on the team. And those are the routes that you're dialing up for this guy. Like that's just, it's a fireable offense. And I mean, it kind of did get him fired. So, and again, I'll scroll down here. This is the difference of the routes that you would see from a Kellen Moore offense. There you go. Keenan Allen. See, that looks like a lot more creativity, and that looks like you know what you're doing, and you're going to take advantage of. We've got a good receiver. We've got a guy who can beat DBs, and we can also make life easier on the quarterback. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Look at that route tree. Go back up here and tell me Keenan Allen's running these routes, and how successful is he going to be? Is Keenan Allen going to be 9 for 96 and a touchdown? Probably not. It's just, it's laughable. Like this is a preschool route run. Like just scribbles on a page and say, let's see if this works. But yes, to answer your question, Kellen Moore will utilize Smitty a whole lot more, and we're going to see much better numbers. So draft him in fantasy. There's your fantasy tip and advice. So early. I know the season isn't even over for other teams, but for us it is, sadly. Broadford, do me a favor and answer my statement. I'm sorry, I may have missed it. I'm trying to go through some of these comments, but I'm missing some of them. I know that, so I will try to. Orange, we should grab Danielle Hunter from free agency. It'd be great. There's lots of names like that we could throw out there, but again, it's how much you're going to pay for some of these players, and that just seems out of the question. Let's see. Anish, if Howie says Dean and Fangio says no, I need a bigger linebacker. Howie does what? That's a good question. If Fangio's not good with that, I think it would be a combination. But hopefully there is that collaboration. You take it into account what Fangio needs or what he says that he needs. I mean, I think it's no secret you do need a linebacker. That's just the hard part. Is Howie sticking to Dean because he's like, man, I drafted him, I stuck my neck out for him, like took a risk, took a chance, and he did defend his linebacker stance. So that's the sad part is he still believes it. I would love for it. I'd love for him to go after a bigger linebacker, more established, somebody else. Question two, I guess, talking about the linebacker is, um, I feel like we don't have an identity in terms of, and curious if you guys agree, and then also the follow up to that to this question. It feels like we don't have an identity. Feels like we're soft, certainly on well, really both sides. But I'm going to stick with defense for this argument or question. But it feels like we're soft. We need to get some more physicality there. You got to have guys that are willing to, hey, maybe a little bit of like jawing back and forth. Some being loud, taking some initiative, being a leader, something, getting the team fired up. Like we have a tiny bit of that we had, but not much. And usually it's with a linebacker. It doesn't have to be. It could be with a defensive lineman, but it feels like more often it's with a linebacker. But do we have someone that can be that vocal leader on defense that can lead this on the team right now? Is there someone on the team that will be that leader this coming season or next season, I should say, however you want to say it? But is there someone on the team now or no? And if not, where are they going to come from? Are we going to just sign a free agent? Can they come in and immediately kind of be the voice on that defense? Because to me, that's the sad part is there's just not anybody that I see so far that can be that vocal leader that I would love to. I know it feels like they want Nakobe Dean to be that, and maybe he can. He's had unfortunate break with the injury and not getting on the field. T.J. Edwards and Kaiser White getting the playing time over him. More understandably with the rookie year, but still, it's like, okay, you're not going to get as much, and it sounds like Fletch could be gone. So I'm just saying, like this defense, you want a physical. I know that's there's the bend but don't break Fangio scheme, so it's maybe not as much like in your face defense, but still, like you want some physicality, you want something, and I'm just curious, like if there's a dude out there that is going to be that on the team, or you just go out and get someone. Real quick, throwing this one up here. Ziggy Buffalo, those routes look like kid wrote on the wall. Yeah, that looks like my 2-year-old daughter who I actually have crayon on a door, and it looks about like that. So that is exactly what the route running is for Brian Johnson. He took it home and said, all right, here you go. Broad 4, there you go. Please do us all a favor. Talk about the corner we got from the Colts. He will start over Ricks or Ringo, right? Yeah, I was talking about him a second ago, but if you didn't hear, but yes, talking about Isaiah Rodgers, I think there's some potential. He's athletic. He could be good, but he also sat out for a year. And sometimes we've seen players that don't play for a year. It can, I hope it doesn't. I don't think that it will, but it can ruin a career, or it could certainly decline it in a way. I mean, look at players that hold out for contracts, or, Le'Veon Bell deciding to be like, nope, I'm not going to play. You come back, and sometimes, is it age? Is it, he was already on a decline? Possibly, but there's also reasons for, I think it's tough. And if you sit out for a full season, try to get acclimated to the speed and come back, I don't know. I hope that he's good. But I'm not ready to say he's just immediately coming in and starting over those guys. He's got the physical tools. He does. But, maybe it's a seamless transition. Maybe there's not a lot of rust and he can hit it from day one. But I think there's some potential there. I just don't think that you go in and say, he's your guy. We've got that spot solved. We don't need to, get extra depth, or we don't need to consider these other guys in Ricks or Ringo for the spot. I think there's some potential on those. Yeah, Josh, I realize Kellen Moore has never had two receivers like this to scheme open, so it should work. I totally agree. Yeah, it is the best news ever for Kellen Moore to have these receivers and this group. And I'm sure he's probably looking at the offense or already looked at it and was like, wow, I mean, Brian Johnson and Sirianni, you guys totally missed the mark. It's easy to see, but you guys totally missed the mark with the weapons you have and what you could be doing. But it should be fun. I mean, to see the scheme and what he can do. Philly fan, do you think Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham be back next season? I don't know. I think it feels like Fletch is not going to. I said that a second ago, but it feels like he's not, because Jordan Davis in his presser, I mean, I don't know how much closer you can get to saying like the dude's going to retire than what Jordan Davis said. Like he's like, man, enjoy playing with him. It's sad to think that it can end this quickly. And like remember watching him growing up, and like it was a very sad feeling press conference. And so it seems like Fletch might be done. And I don't know whether that's a Fletch saying, I'm going to look to get paid wherever I can get the most money. And so he already knows or thinks like Philly's not going to re-sign me. They're not going to offer what I want. Or if it's Fletch just being retired, and I'd hate it either way, really. But it just feels that way from JD. BG, I think he'll be back because, he wants the whole farewell tour, retire an Eagle. He'll probably sign you a team-friendly deal, especially because he's like, hey, it's last season. I'm not looking to break the bank. I'm not looking to get a huge, massive contract or anything like that. So I feel like he'll be back. But, it's a kind of a curtain call. So I'd be surprised if they don't. I'll say that. As far as the leader on the defense, Sidney Brown, banger. So here's the thing with Sidney Brown. I love Sidney and his play. He can be physical, but like he's really quiet. And that's not the worst thing. I know you can kind of lead by example, but is Sidney the dude that's going to be like, man, that's the leader, that's the voice of the defense? I don't know. He can bring it. He could do it by his actions, but it's not the same as far as like this dude's going to be the one carrying you, leading that, being the vocal presence. Sion, I think is how I say that. Hopefully Nakobe, yeah, hopefully. Ziggy thinks that as well. Dean's the guy if he's healthy. It's hard to say. Seems like they definitely want Nakobe to be the guy. If he's not, though, man, that you're in a difficult spot because I don't know. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this team. Looking at this defense, and no, there's not really anybody else that I immediately say, yeah, okay, this could be the big vocal leader. I don't know, because you have to have the combination of play and leadership. I think that you got to earn that respect by being that player. So there's moments for guys, but I go back and forth. Fitness Warrior, what's up? Do I say good morning or good evening? Either one, I guess. I don't know. Times all run together for me at this moment. Got another super chat here, though. Shades of Trey, what's up? There you go, the 20 bomb. Wow, I appreciate that, man. Dream offseason with realistic cap space. I don't think we make a blockbuster move, but sign a good linebacker. All right. Draft wide receiver 3. Okay. Draft a running back day 3. Draft a linebacker 2nd. And draft safety Kitchens in the 1st. O-line depth. Draft or sign edge. You sure up a lot of holes there. That's a no doubter. I really like the idea. I've said this before. I really like the idea of signing a linebacker. Will Howie do it? Probably not. But I like the idea of signing a good linebacker. Would it be for a longer term or is it going to be more of a short term thing? I guess that's the question. I saw some people commenting too. I mean, if the linebackers coach ends up being a Mike Edwards, because he's interviewed and so is Joe Barry, but if it's Mike Edwards, he's coached both Levante David and Devin White. There's a possibility with them being in free agency to bring one of them to Philly. I don't know. There's several names. I could maybe even throw up the list here too. Take a look at linebackers. But yeah, if you look at that and say, you get it shored up with a linebacker, you sign a good linebacker, and I honestly, you say like I don't think we make a blockbuster move, but and I guess maybe there's the but part, but like sign a good linebacker to me would be a blockbuster move for Howie, just because we haven't seen that. Yeah, you get the linebacker, draft the wide receiver 3. I'm perfectly okay with that. In this offense, you add another weapon, that's fine. Um, d- don't draft too high, though. I'll say that there's a lot of options, lots of things you need on defense. So as long as it's not an early pick, I'm okay with that. You could draft a wide receiver 3, draft a running back day 3. That's also fine. Yep, I think you can find a running back that have been serviceable and been perfectly fine late in the draft. That's great. Draft a linebacker in the second. That could be, could even be Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Could be, what's his name? Oh, I'm drawing a blank now. It's late or early or whatever time it is. Where is that? I'll find it. But yes, while I'm looking at that, you draft the linebacker. Cameron Kitchens as the safety. Edrin Cooper. There we go. I was going to say, I was trying to think of names here, but yeah, Edrin Cooper, A&M, possibility. Second round, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. There's a couple others, but yeah, if you get one of those, linebacker, Kitchens, and then yeah, you probably got to get O-line depth. I'm curious to see if they go. It wouldn't surprise me if Howie tries to do that like in a second round. I would not like it really because you're going with the depth piece whenever you can get someone that probably needs to make an impact. But it also wouldn't surprise me because as much as the trenches, if there's someone available that he likes, could possibly happen. But yeah, then draft or sign an edge. I wouldn't mind that either. You possibly sign someone that could work, or even a hybrid too. If we're thinking about Fangio's scheme, what's it? Andrew Van Ginkel is a free agent. I don't know what you guys think about him, but he did well. According to either way, he did well. But according to PFF, he was like through the roof. He was the Miami's best defensive player. So there's potential. There's hybrid option with him. Yeah, let's look at. I'll throw up some of the linebackers too on that note. Signing a linebacker or taking a look at those options for linebacker. You got, I mean, really several here. There's a Bobby Wagner, but getting up there in age. Isaiah Simmons. Remember he was linked to before to Philly, but Isaiah Simmons is going to be there. Jordan Hicks, Aziz Al-Shair, Frankie Louvu. Question is, how much are these guys going to be? And that's the hard part. I think some of these coming up on a contract, Louvu, you're probably going to have to spend what, 10 million ish on Louvu. But if you're going to make a bigger signing, I wouldn't mind Louvu. Al-Shair is a possibility. Talked about Levante David, but again, getting up there in age, so I can understand if you're like, not so much. Patrick Queen, obviously, was already mentioned. Yes, there's a name there. Van Ginkel that I mentioned. Again, these guys, I mean, obviously super cheap, so they're looking to get a second deal, second contract. Then you go down here and look at Zach Cunningham. 1.7, I mean, as much as he was solid-ish. I mean, he was your best, I think, most consistent. Not that we're saying it's phenomenal, but I mean, from what you had. So I think that's where I'm at anyway. But yeah, I don't disagree. If you do all those moves there, we're sitting pretty. I'll say that. Yes, I totally agree. Dream off season. You make things happen, but appreciate the 20 there. Get the other super chat here from Slick. Says, our coaches are hired. Now time for free agency. Yes, absolutely. And that'll maybe be the easier part to like live through this, live through these games today or tomorrow. It's technically today for me, but depending on your time zone. Um, and then even the Super Bowl is it's still going to be brutal to have to be like, man, what could have been and not taking advantage. But hey, you know what? At least you can get into the free agency mindset. You could say these are our coordinators. We're going to have some different positional guys for sure, but it's who you bringing in. How are you solidifying on defense? How are you solidifying on offense? I get so excited about this. I mean, yes, I enjoy the season more. I think we all do. You know, you want to have or certainly playoffs because there's a chance to go do something. But it's at least exciting this time of year because you got all the scouting, you got all the draft potential picks, the mock drafts. I'm going to try to do like quite a bit of those mock drafts as well. So for you guys, checking it out over the off season. But yeah, it'll be full coverage on any potentials, guys that are linked to Philly. There'll be tons of those. But then, whenever we get free agency moves and everything else. So we'll be going live with any breaking news as we always do, but then also, shows on potentials and maybe targets and everything like that. But yeah, you got the answer as far as the coaches. So now who fits in there scheme wise and who makes sense to bring in. Shades of Trey, man, appreciate it, dude. You were just killing it. Another super chat, $5. The we aren't tough. We aren't tough. I knew last year was toast when San Francisco punked Bradbury and no one had his back, dude. Totally. That. I mean, when one of your own is getting punked and nobody cares at all, like they could say that they don't listen or pay attention to the news or to what people are saying or any of that stuff. But we know better. Whenever you've got a player of an opposing team that is trash talking him the way that he is, you got to expect, hey, there might be a little bit of chippiness, and you don't answer the call, you don't answer the bell, you get shoved around before that game. And whenever I saw that clip, I think it was on Twitter. Whenever I saw it, like I hated it. I was instantly. Thomas and I were about to go live for the stream. I think I texted him. I was like, "Oh man, I don't feel good about this," because you see the intensity or the lack of intensity. Even if Bradbury had been getting burnt before then, he was already turning into burnt berry. You still, as a team, say, bro, I got your back. Like, you ain't going to get shoved around here. If they want to get into a little bit of a shoving match or a little bit of a fight beforehand, like, all right, bring it. We're here. This is our home field. This is our home territory. But yeah, it was not a good sign whenever we saw that. So that's why I'm thinking you got to have somebody to stick up for him. Is it Nakobe Dean? It feels like that's who they want it to be. But I don't know if he's the guy. I don't know if that's who it's going to be. As Torteville here says, Nakobe Dean really struggled in pass coverage in the limited time he was on the field. We have to find linebackers who can cover. The middle of the field has been an issue for 2 years now. Yep, that is very sad. We really need to find that. Let's see. And who do you like for that, I guess, too, to answer to get the questions. Who's going to be that guy? The middle of the field. Is it somebody you do draft, or is it somebody you go after free agency? Because sadly, I think even again, like you bring up there, like Nakobe's going to be fine against the run. I think there's not too many concerns that he can be good enough at the run stopping side, but pass coverage, I don't know. Andrew, Mike Caldwell would be a good hire. Also, don't hate Joe Barry. Yep. It feels like it's going to be one of those dudes. So, like, I'm kind of already preparing in my mind. It's one of those. Either one to me is all right. They've both, oddly enough, both of them have Super Bowl wins, and both of them are with the Bucks. Like different times, obviously. But I saw that and was kind of like, oh, that's strange. Joe Barry in 2001. Domination of the Raiders, coaching Derek Brooks as a linebackers coach. And then Caldwell, obviously, recently with Tom Brady. They got a ton more experience, though. DJ Elliott was weird to me. Like, it felt like kind of out of nowhere. Just like no experience, no NFL experience. I get it in Temple, local, whatever. Maybe interviewed fine, but I like these potential candidates. I like the guys that we're hearing about that they're interviewing. You get more experience. Again, it's the constant thing of yes, if you have success, these guys are probably here for only a season. And even if you have just moderate success, they're still probably only here for a season. I can't imagine that Joe Barry, maybe, I shouldn't say that. Joe Barry got a taste of a defensive coordinator, but he's been in that role. He's kind of, back and forth. Caldwell, same thing, not successful in DC. So maybe not. Maybe they stay for a little bit longer. I was going to say they might look to go elsewhere. If you have a lot of success, sure, they might go that way. But either way, again, you get the experience. It's got to be so much better. These dudes are, I feel like night and day if you're coaching up the guys. Been there, done that, have experience. Mike Caldwell's obviously Philly familiarity from a number of reasons, coaching and playing. Been in the NFL, so that speaks volumes. I always lean on the side of not all players make good coaches, but I always lean on the side of if a player is a good coach, turns into a good coach, that just naturally gives them a leg up to me because I'm like, I want you to be able to coach the game, but I would prefer to you have the experience of being in the game and feeling what the players are feeling because there's not a substitute for being in there in that environment. So that's why I say I probably lean towards Mike Caldwell right now, but either way, I'm all right with Joe Barry. Yep. Jay Shaw says Devin White also available free agency. Yep. Yep. There's a possibility. Orange is saying Kendall Fuller. Andrew Josh Uche, yeah, would fit in the Fangio system. Make a good rotational piece on our line. Yeah, I could get behind that. That's let's see. He is Drew Rosenhaus represents everyone. I know that, but I just laugh. I saw it pop up as Rosenhaus representing Josh Uche. He's not the most. He doesn't just love Fangio. Let's say that. Rosenhaus's comments of what the Miami players didn't really love him, not the best relationship, blah blah blah. Feels like he's covering for some of his guys that he represents in Miami that didn't have a good year. Because he's just going to go where the money is. Yeah, if you throw enough money at Josh Uche, he doesn't care. Drew's going to be like, hey, man, you go to Philly. Fangio's great. You're going to do fantastic. Fitness Warrior, I think Howie's so confident in his picks that he really did think it was the coaches. Yeah, sometimes it feels like he holds on to it sometimes. I've got a short coming out pretty soon, too. I did about... I'll probably wrap it up. I think tomorrow would probably be about whenever it would. But it's just Howie's first round best and worst picks. But yeah, sometimes it feels like he holds on to it. I can understand so. If you're so set on somebody, you want to just hold on for dear life thinking they're going to be successful. Oh, that's a good point, too. I thought going back to the comment of Bradbury getting shoved, but Torteville says pretty strong evidence the locker room was fractured. The Bradbury thing, also 2 players hit Hurts pre-snap and nobody did anything. I remember that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was one of those where it felt like any other situation. I mean, you hit the quarterback, you hit your franchise guy. Somebody gonna step up, stand up for him, like say something, do anything, shove the other team back. Yeah, that's I don't know. Omega Calco, what's up? Kellen Moore, huh? Shocked, honestly. I won't be doom and gloom yet, though. Here's hoping he can get Jalen back on track. As far as linebackers, I'd say someone like Patrick Queen. Yep, I like the idea of Patrick Queen. Curious, though, I know you're saying not doom and gloom. Um, I don't know, not belief in Kellen Moore. Think there's someone else that would have been better for Jalen. Um, Again, honestly, I think he'd be good. I think he'll be good for Jalen. Also followed up if we could somehow get Devin White and Queen though, yeah, that would be incredible. It makes me jealous. Again, we're gonna see fantastic linebacker play today or tomorrow, what time you're watching this, but um, the fact that the teams that are playing right now do have fantastic linebacker play, or the majority of them, depending on where you're at. But three of the four have really good linebacker play, and we do not. It would change things drastically. I think that there's a benefit there for linebackers, and Howie is somewhat against that, or definitely against that, and not investing there. Maybe he would change his stance, but heck yeah, if you get Devin White and Patrick Queen, it would ruin, and the reason how he may not do it, probably won't do it, is not only the reason for investing, but it makes him basically say I was wrong, like to officially admit to go spend that much money and cover up your draft pick into Kobe Dean. I think that's probably why he wouldn't do it. But Andrew says, do we trade Avante or cut him? Man, I don't know. Avante, like I want him to be. I've just I want him to be healthy. He just can't. That's a good question though. Like, let's see here. Avante. Do you? I don't know this, so I'm looking it up. Do you know what the hit would be for cutting him? You might be able to find that faster than I'm searching for it, but um, let's see. Yeah, stuff says Maddox is built cheap. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm. You might cut him. You might. I guess you could try to trade him and see if someone. But I feel like with his injury history too, who else is going to sign up for it? Um, Sadly, you might cut him and say like, all right, we're gonna move on. As much as he's had his moments, because he even coming back. I know there's a lot of rust too that you could say to it, but yeah, I'm with Bilo Black. I'm gonna miss Maddox, man. Just wish he could have stayed healthy. Me too. Sadly, he could not. It's like there were moments whenever he was healthy, staying out there. Oh, there we go. Okay, 7 million over the cap. That's not cheap. It's not cheap in terms of what you might do with Maddox. I don't know. I could see how he tried to trade, see if there's a team interested. I just don't think there would be. So I guess it wouldn't surprise me if you were to hang on to him. But like Maxwell says here, trade Maddox while he has some value. But the question is, does he have value? Like if you're literally, um, I don't know if you're literally looking at that and saying like he's been hurt, he's gotten injured, like just about every single year. Are you a team that wants to trade, or how much? I mean, guess again, how much value are we really talking about with that? Also, Maxwell's comment: I want Frankie Louvu. I would be very happy with Frankie Louvu. I think he'd be good. There's lots of hybrid ability with him, size, everything else. But I'm with you. Sturdy, what's up? It says this is a complete home run for the Eagles. Yep, this is. I think it's a really good hiring. I don't know if I'm at the point where I would say anything is a home run for the Eagles yet. But I think it's a good signing to have Kellen Moore. Elijah Ferguson says, "Will Jalen Hurts or question here? I guess will Jalen Hurts have success in this style of offense? Because in my opinion, Jalen's best scheme fit is Shane's scheme. I think he will. Again, was talking about this earlier and have mentioned it a couple different times. But here's the thing: is Kellen Moore has been around good quarterbacks. He's not going to have near the predictability of being just in the gun. He's coached a Dak Prescott, which I know we hate, but he coached Dak Prescott to a number one offense one of the seasons. And if you look at four seasons as an offensive coordinator, the Cowboys were second, only behind the Chiefs. So like, there's some success that he can have, and there's a way to I don't know, get Jalen playing at a higher level, make the game easier for him. And I think also maybe help him take the next step in it possibly progressions, or whether it's checks at the lines, or whether it's differences, because there wasn't a whole lot of that, because you're not running, there's no motion, there's no creativity. It's two options really in a play that you're going to have, and that's about it. Now again, it might make it easier, and I don't disagree necessarily saying that Shane Steichen is good, and it makes life easier for Jalen too. Yeah, but Shane unfortunately is not here, not going to be here. So I still think that this style is going to really help him. There will be adjustments. So at the same time, I'm trying to that's where maybe I wouldn't say it's a home run hire, of the sense of, am I going in saying, hey, from game one, we're going to see a drastic difference. Yes, a drastic difference from the look of the offense, but will we see a drastic difference of oh my gosh, Jalen is playing at MVP level? I don't know, because I mean, like we've all seen, we're familiar with it enough. How often does a quarterback that gets an offensive coordinator first year play lights out? It doesn't really happen most of the time. I can't think of a great example off the top of my head for a quarterback that has done that. First time, first year coordinator just going crazy. It feels like it's the second year. And like me personally, anytime that I see that in fantasy, it's like red flag. Even if it's a good quarterback, I'm like, I'm gonna give it a year. And maybe I miss on it, but I would rather say, yeah, let them go through the growing pains, and then second year, quarterback, OC, here we go. So, I hope that I'm wrong in that. That's not me saying that I think it's gonna be bad. It will be better. But I'm also trying to, temper some expectations, not to say, don't worry, guys, this is going to be 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns for Jalen. Maybe there's a chance. It'll make life much easier, though, on Jalen, because I think you'll see better separation from the receivers than what we saw this year. And hopefully the motion should give Jalen some more tells about the defense, because I think it made it more difficult. You're going up at the line. There's no motion. There's no pre-snap motion. So you're not able to see exactly what the defense is going to give you, because you're not putting them in a spot to have to identify where they're going with things, or where, what's going to take place on a certain scenario. So yeah, I think it'll be all right. Oh, there we go. Okay, I was trying to look for it before, but Bubba, appreciate it. It says you saved $7.1 million by letting him go before post June 1. There's probably your answer then. Yeah, Steph says might get offered a 7th round pick for Maddox. What do you is it worth the 7th round pick, or is it worth the 7 million? I think it's probably the 7 million. Fitness Warrior, looking at the new schedule, how many games do you think we'll win? Let's see. Let's take a look at that. I saw the. Obviously, we don't have the official, schedule, but we have the opponents, so it's hard to say. In the exact order of playing them. But let me throw this up here too so that everybody can see it in case they haven't taken a look or been aware of the opponents for 2024. And maybe I can move myself out of the way. Here you go. All right. It's probably way too early to be doing this, really. But if for the sake of it, we're all here hanging out on a late Saturday, early Sunday. Who knows what time it is? But yeah, you got the home game with Dallas. I'm gonna say we win. We'll just go in this order because again, who knows when we're playing these and what time and everything there. But let's go Dallas. We win at home. Giants. We win at home. Commanders. We win at home. Cleveland will be tough. I think it'll be maybe they're on people's radar. Making the playoffs, but I think Cleveland will be tough. Let's say. I'm going to try to be conservative too. So again, from what we've seen, I know we're going to have new coordinators, but we'll go win Dallas, win Giants, win Commanders, lose to the Browns, beat the Falcons, beat the Panthers. So there's 5 wins. Jacksonville, 6, beat Jacksonville. Packers, I don't know, man. Packers are good. Packers are looking, they're up and coming, or maybe they've already starting to arrive with Jordan Love. So, maybe you lose 2 at home. If it's the Packers, then beat the Steelers. Yeah, so there's what 7-2 at home, and then away is pretty tough. I think it's kind of evenly split, but do we finally win at Dallas? Let's say for the sake of the argument here, no. Again, I'm being conservative, but lose to Dallas on the way. Giants, you win. Commanders, you win. Hopefully. Let's say you win. Bucks, let's say we get payback there. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but let's say we get payback there. There's 4. Let's say we lose to the Rams this time, lose to Baltimore. Bengals will be tough. Maybe the Saints, you win and lose to the Bengals. That's a lot there. Okay, so what is that? That's 3 losses away, and that's 2 losses home. Yeah, so 5. Maybe I'm still being too optimistic. What is that? 12-5. There you go. That's where I'm at, I guess. 12-5. I know. I'd be happy with that. With the new scheme and everything else. I could see it where it's more like 10 wins, 11 wins. Maybe not. Ryan Rollman. What's up? I wanted Kellen Moore as OC. There you go. We got him. So did a lot of people. I posted a poll for, favorites. Who do we want? Comments, everything else. So we got him. Sean feeling the same way. Says Kellen definitely knows how to distribute the ball around the field. I lost that. Sorry. Definitely knows how to distribute the ball around the field and definitely use Zeke and Pollard in the running game as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us. Yep, I am too. I'm interested. I'm optimistic. Like I said, I feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, probably at a 7, maybe 7 to 8 on this hiring. Going back to the schedule here, the predictions has several people on this. Kicks and cuts, 9 and 8. Man, I hope not. We can hopefully do a little bit better than that. Dusty Demon Destroyer, 13 wins. All right, man, we bounced back in a big way. Can you imagine 13 wins? I hope so. Feels like we might have some growing pains a little bit. Below 11 and 6. Yeah, that's probably about where I'm at. I know I said 12, but looking more at it and thinking the scenario and everything else, it's 11 and 6 feels pretty realistic. J Rock, 8 and 7 and 1. Okay. We even have the tie, and we don't play one game apparently. But I guess you're missing one of those games. Maybe it's the one at MetLife. We just refuse to play. We boycott it. Please don't play any of the starters at MetLife. My gosh. We don't need injuries. That's a good point. Yes, Andrew. Dallas fans will make fun of this hire, which they are. They're definitely doing that already. They know that they'll lose their shit if we have a top 5 offense and win the division. Yes, that is where they'll be. They don't want to see it because he was their guy, and he left, and it didn't help them for moving on and doing anything in the postseason here, as we know. So if and when we bounce back and we have the offense playing really well, and you got the guys in spots to make plays, they're not going to like it. Who to boss? According to the next Super Bowl logo, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. What is that? Let's see. I may have missed that. I may have missed the next Super Bowl logo. Oh, here we go. I found it. Okay. Let's see if this one is. Yeah, is this it? That's the Super Bowl logo. I don't know. Is that us? Or is that if we're wearing Kelly greens, maybe? Or is that the Jets? Is that might be Jets colors? It's kind of strange how that whole Super Bowl conspiracy. I don't know if you're buying into it, but it's a little bit odd. You will say that. Probably, probably nothing to it. Probably nothing. Oh, yeah. Don't count on the color scheme. Vegas is well aware of it. Now we'll flip it. Also, its fake logo isn't revealed until after. Okay, I was going to say, I don't know if I'd seen that, if that's legit, but Reddit has everything. So if it's legit, there you go. If it's not, then who knows? But yeah, like Michael said, or it's the Jets. He said, no, yeah, I'm just playing. Here's a great question. Love this question. Andrew, Josh, would you like us to rock Kelly Greens full time, but like the true 90s unis that darker shade? Either way, honestly, but I've loved the ones that we have. I think those are so clean, and the fact that the players love it too. I mean, look at the reactions. I'm sure we've all seen it by now, but like the reactions from Smitty and the guys like unveiling and seeing the jerseys. Those are so nice. And the fact that we only wore them 2 games, we could have worn them again. I think it was what 3 games was the max, but yeah, I had to get a couple. I got a Jalen Hurts one and a Kelly Green whenever I was there at the pro shop. So we should have worn it more, and we need to keep it up. I'm not saying get rid of the midnight green. I mean, understand that, but yeah, I think those are so nice. Again, whether it's those or the '90s. Jordan says Jets versus Vikings. I was thinking Ravens actually whenever I first saw that logo, but forgot about the Vikings. I guess because it doesn't work with the AFC. So that's where my mind's at this late at night. So that didn't think about the Vikings there. I guess it could be Packers Ravens, or you have the Jets Vikings. Or if we just switch to our Kelly Greens now, then you're good. Maxwell. That's the reason to wear the Kelly Greens from here on out. Kelly Green gives our players bonus attributes. It does. It's like your what is it? The game breaker. That's what it is. It's the game breaker max, and you just go ahead and use the game breaker because the dudes are wearing Kelly Green. That I'm we played. I mean, I thought we were gonna lose against Buffalo. We played really good against Miami. Lights out against Miami. Buffalo, the way that it ended was fantastic. I mean, Jake Elliott being able to make an ungodly field goal. That's like, who in the world in their right mind is ever thinking you can, for one, kick it from there and make it from there? You had to because of the false starts from Kelsey, and it's like, all right, well, good luck. But I thought we were going to lose that one, and the fact that he made that through the torrential downpour. But you're right, it was the Kelly Green jerseys. Bonus attributes immediately 10 plus on kicking power for Jake. Ryan question: who would you like as linebackers coach? Yeah, I answered it a second ago, but the my favorite probably Mike Caldwell. They've interviewed Mike Caldwell. They've interviewed Joe Barry. Both are Fangio. Or I'm sorry, Joe Barry Fangio disciples. So there's some scheme things that might work. But if you're coaching linebackers, all reports are it's probably both of them are fine. And I did a show about it, but let me see. I'll throw this one up here so that you have the quote officially for Caldwell. Please hold. I will find it. Here we go. All right. Took me a little bit, but I found it. This was Andrew DeCecco. Note I received on Mike Caldwell coaching linebackers. For those curious, he was commanding in the room because he takes over. He teaches you the game and why we're doing what we do. He can relate to all players in the room, no matter how they learn. If you ask me, he's the guy for the job. Again, that's just one source. So I get that, you could say that about anybody, and who knows who the source is. If it's a source, trust me, bro. I don't know. But I'm just saying, he got that from somebody, apparently. Caldwell's played linebacker in the NFL, like we were talking about, so I like that. He's got a Philly connection. He has coached here before. Hugh Douglas spoke about him too. If you didn't catch it, I put these in the show earlier today or yesterday. Time is blending together, but spoke to Hugh Douglas. This is Jeff Kerr, but speaking to Hugh Douglas and just talking about Mike Caldwell, he said they wouldn't make a whole lot of mistakes. Mike was one of the smartest linebackers ever played with, no question about it. Hugh also went on to say, feel like having veteran coaches like Mike Caldwell in there. They may not be as talented, but damn it, they're gonna know where to go. They're going to know what to do. They're going to know what their assignments are. That's important. So, you know, a couple people endorsing it. I like it. He wasn't a good DC for sure, but you know what? That doesn't mean you're not a good positional coach. And the fact that you played the position, that would be my bet. Joe Barry, I'm fine with that too. It seems like it'll be one of those guys. Jordan says, Josh, hey man, hope the kids are well. Minor chaos. Sorry. What do you think about us picking up Kool-Aid McKinstry at corner to replace Trashberry and put Ringo in for Slay? It's a good question. I appreciate it. The kids are doing well. They're sleeping, and hopefully, I should say that my wife is with the littlest one, but the 2-year-old is sleeping, so we know that. But we're figuring this whole thing out, so appreciate it. But as far as Kool-Aid McKinstry, yeah, I mean, I would love to get a corner. We've been talking about this a little bit, but whether it's a free agent, whether it's draft, I think it would be awesome. I don't know if how he's going to invest in a corner that early. Whenever you're going to look at what he's done in the past, I hope that he does, but it seems like we're going to go something trenches and probably D-line, because if you lose Fletch, BG's on his way out already. He's getting older too, so you don't really count on it too much. You got Jalen Carter, obviously. You got JD, but there's even questions there. Like JD played well in the first half of the season, and then apparently the reports were that he was overweight or maybe getting fined. Who knows if that's legit, but maybe getting fined for being overweight. Milton Williams, I'd like to see him play a little bit more. Maybe he can be an answer. But just depth-wise, if you're going to rotate some guys, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if you're going to go with a defensive lineman. But yes, I mean, to answer your question, I'd be happy about that. Get Trashberry, Burntberry, Badberry, whatever other name we have for him out, and move on from his side. And then I don't know about Slay. I mean, you have to think long term. You have to think about, okay, where are we going ahead? But I don't know what the Eagles are going to do if they're going to say, let's give it one more season. I think it's only one more season max of what Slay has. I'm just saying NFL in general. I'm not talking about, I know contract status and all that, but I'm just saying NFL in general. If you're looking at him, say the impact that he can make, and who knows how long he wants to play anyway, but you do have to start thinking long term. Who's that going to be? And it feels like they're very high on Ringo naturally, drafting him how they did and starting to play late in the season over Bradbury, understandably so. But it wouldn't surprise me if they went that route and said, hey, let's continue to work with Keeley. Let's get him in there more and see if he can get some more playing time. As much as I might not like it, I wouldn't be shocked if they're saying, no, Slay's going to start another year, and then who's the other second? It's not going to be Bradbury, but do they look at Ringo? Do they potentially sign someone, or is it someone in the draft? But much like we say with linebacker, it'd be nice if they invest some resources in linebacker. It would be nice if they invest some resources, even if it's high draft capital, in a corner. And I don't know if is how you're going to do that. We would hope. But I'd be good with McKinstry. Got another super chat here. Kind of high. 215. Appreciate it. Says, go Birds. Congratulations, new dad. Thank you. New dad times 2, I guess. Technically not a new dad. It's not new altogether, but figuring out the life of 2 little ones instead of just one. It's an amazing feeling. It is an incredible blessing. Those of you who are parents know that. But going from 1 to 2, there's parts of it that are easier, and there's parts that are more difficult. So we're figuring out that life. But no, I appreciate it. Ryan answering back. Yeah, Mike Caldwell is my number 1 option. Joe Barry at 2. There you go. Yep. It's gonna be one of those. I'd be shocked if it's not. So. Johnny Cage, there's a name. Love that. Left Slay, but his best days are behind him. Yeah, I think so, unfortunately. Kicks and cuts. Slays a wrap. Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm so sorry. Totally forgot. Yeah, Torteville, good point. Don't rule out Ojomo. I think he could be good. Just needs to keep learning. He can, for sure. I don't know how I forgot about him. Maybe it's just a lack of sleep. But yes, Ojomo could be really good. Because he had several players, Cam Jurgens and I think it was Landon Dickerson, who they were asking him, hey, who on the practice squad gives you fits or who gives you the most challenge and everything else? And they both answered Ojomo. So, yeah, that's a great point. Didn't think about him. So rotational, you'll still have him. He'll get out there on the field some. And he's crazy young. Like that dude. How old is Ojomo? 22. Yeah. Lots of potential there. So yeah, that's a good point. You might see him more often. Still wouldn't mind seeing, more rotational, but we think I know JD I brought up. Getting some comments also for where JJ says Jordan Davis being a bust is an extreme take. Give the man time to develop. Yeah, I see some people saying he's a bust. I wouldn't say he's a bust. There's some disappointment. Sure, I'll give you that. I'm not on the point to where we're done with him, saying that he's absolutely washed or just there's no chance to ever find anything. The open court, Milton Williams getting more playing time is such a blessing in disguise. He did start making some plays late. That's for sure. Getting him out there. Yeah, he has some moments. He really does. I don't know. For some reason, they don't play him as often as it feels like they could or should. But Paco, I think that's how I say it. Paco, what's up? Appreciate 2 kids. How old are you? You look like you're still in college. I appreciate that. I look like I'm still in college. I will take that. Hopefully that continues. I'm 31 though. So 31 with a 2-year-old and a, what is it? Week and a half year old. But yeah, thank you for the kind of compliment. Super chat here. Alexander Harris, appreciate the 5 bomb. How do we grade the OC Eagles fans? Also, know you just had your baby. Oh my gosh, your fiance is in labor as we speak, or your fiance. What a beautiful time. Congrats to you and yours. Thank you, and congrats to you. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Hopefully she's doing well. Ours was lightning fast, so I don't know what's better, if it's lightning fast or like taking a long duration. Ours was literally 2 hours of labor. Like she wakes me up and head out the door, and 2 hours later we have second baby girl. So such a blessing though. But yes, congrats to you too. I don't know if it's boy or girl first or not, but that is exciting. Appreciate the super chat too. JJ, I honestly love this show. I can never miss a live or video when the notification hits. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Love hanging out with you guys. As y'all know, I've been trying to do more lives whenever I can, and naturally with the schedule and all that changing, it kind of presents itself to work that way. But yeah, it's a blast. Love getting y'all's insight and takes, and anytime we can have a little fun, throw some humor in the videos with different movie clips and all that other stuff. If it's not evident, I mean, you could tell from the shows that I do. Love watching movies and love various clips. Like I was a communication major, so I was a minor in film, and so we had like film history and all this other stuff. So tons of movies and clips and everything else. And so I try to go back and use whatever I can, reference comedy and everything. But that's why it gets thrown in there quite a bit, because I have fun with it. So when my wife and I do have time, which is not as often, our go-to is movie night. So that is why there's so much. Ojomo is from Katy. Represent. Yeah, there you go. Good old Katy, Texas. Jordan has a dad of a 9-year-old boy, 2-year-old boy, and 1-year-old girl. It's so fun once the sleep starts to neutralize. Oh man, that's you got your hands full. 9, 2, and 1. I, with 2 now, I'm trying to figure out. That's tough. Good luck to you though. It is such a blessing though. I will say that they're worth every bit. There's never been a regret, even though there's times that are harder than others, but such a blessing. Thousand Faces. Who do you want as QB coach? I don't know 100% yet. I'm going to be honest. I haven't looked a ton and done a ridiculous amount of research. I know that. Um, why am I drawing a blank? Oh boy, who is the Chargers? Is it like Doug? Oh my gosh, what's his name? We're gonna find it, or y'all in the chat. Maybe somebody's already said it. What is his name? Oh, Newsmeyer. Newsmeyer. I think that's how you say last name. But anyway, Doug Newsmeyer. Feels like that's a potential being in LA with the Chargers. It's naturally, you're going to end up having guys that you bring over from previous. So if it's Kellen Moore and he's trying to figure out who might work scheme wise, I'd be all right with that. Again, I haven't looked at it a ridiculous amount. I can't imagine that he's going to stick around with Harbaugh there. I would think that Harbaugh is going to bring in his own stuff, his own staff, maybe, but. Johnny Cage, I feel like Sidney Brown has a very high ceiling. I'm hopeful he becomes our Polamalu. I do too. I think he's got a really high ceiling. ACL things, obviously unfortunate, but he's seems to be doing okay. Where was the? Let's see. There was an update. Let me. Where is? Yeah, here we go. So successful surgery today, which is great, via his Instagram. And he said he's going to attack the rehab as much as possible, understandably so. I mean, the dude seems like he attacks everything in life. So prayers and well wishes to him. Hopefully he can get back really soon. But that dude is, yes, he's a beast in limited action. I love seeing the pick six that he got and the return that he's blazing speed also. But I think that he could be really good. It's just hopefully it doesn't derail him too much and he's able to get back on the field this season, keep up the physicality, but he can certainly bring it. I also love the fact that he's a twin. I'm a twin too, so kind of relate on that side. But yeah, if he became Polamalu or even close, I think we'd all be happy. Oh, appreciate it. Paco said it's a compliment. You look young. Thank you. Appreciate it. Another question here, Thousand Faces. What do you think about Fangio's scheme? Oh, and by the way, I've done this a million times, but I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one that puts Vangio instead of Fangio. I typed that out on like tweets and everything else, and texting like Thomas and friends about that. For some reason, I don't know why that is, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. So it's yes, Fangio with an F, but I know who you're talking about. What do you think about Fangio's scheme, given our linebacker woes? We need linebackers. I mean, I'll just say that. We've talked about it a little bit, but we need to shore that up. You got to get somebody else. It's not an answer with who we have. I think that I think it can be okay, but again, it just comes down to how much is Howie willing to invest in linebacker and how much does Fangio say to Howie, hey, look, we got to get something done here. I don't know to what extent. I would have to imagine that they had the conversation already, though. Again, you don't bring in somebody with your personnel and being at odds, and no one's dumb. Fangio's not, like just naive or ignorant to the situation. So outside looking in, you know that there's a GM that might not invest in linebackers. So I'd have to think that Fangio's already had the conversation before he agreed to be the defensive coordinator. So my hope is that they already came to a somewhat of a mutual agreement, like, hey, I will, if Howie was saying like I'll invest a little bit more in linebackers, or we'll take a look at, I don't know, the draft, or maybe it was free agency, or just anything, whatever. But Torteville, I thought it was Fick Fangio. That's how I spelled it a couple times too. That's the thing. JJ says, not going to lie, I'm surprised and happy about this signing. I kind of felt like Sirianni was leaning towards Cliff, and I was super questionable about him. Yeah, it felt like Cliff was, just about everyone seemed to suggest that, or at least, the favorite out of who he had interviewed. So that was the surprising part is, he'd only 3 interviews. It was only virtual with Cliff. And I guess with Kellen, maybe they had a in-person that we don't know about, but the only thing that I heard was that it was a virtual interview with him. But yeah, it was strange because you only got those interviews going on. All 3 big-time college quarterbacks, the Gerard Johnson being the third, but you could tell they wanted a particular offensive coordinator. And then whenever you start seeing Friday evening news dump of, positional coaches for the Eagles are interviewing elsewhere, all right, the writing's on the wall. They have their man identified. It's just who was it going to be? And I started leaning towards Cliff. Kind of thought it might be that route as well, because there's seems like more similarities to Sirianni's style, and Cliff staying out of the gun so often. But he said they were going to get changes. Said they were going to get an OC with different mindset, different scheme, everything else. And hey, you look at it, it's going to be drastic. It's going to be a lot different than what we saw. Good. Okay. I'm glad. This is awesome. Trey says I've been saying Vangio too. I'm just, this makes me feel better because again, just sometimes I'm like, hopefully I'm not the only one. Jokesaw says, the V and F sound the same to me. Just about. Yeah. I think that's also why in my head it doesn't compute. I'm just like typing it out like there's a Vangio out there. J5 Network, Fangio and Moore, does that make you feel better about our 2024 season? I mean, yeah, just the outlook of it. Yeah, the going into it potential. Sure. You right the ship, maybe. But I feel a lot better. Just look at it from a number of reasons. But experience maybe being the best. You got guys who've done it before. We had previously Sean Desai, one year of defensive coordinator play calls, and not great at that with Chicago, but he was there. I think he was 24th, I believe, in defense that one year. So not the best. And then Brian Johnson, who had never done it. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. You got guys who have proven they can do it. They've done it at a high level. Sure, they've had some moments where not as effective, but I'm all right with that. Don C says, why not Eric Bieniemy? That's a good question. Also, Kicks and Cut says, why not Frank? So Frank Reich is also the question. Yeah. We can get into that. Oh, Don C says, I'm late to the OC news of Moore. Yeah, I think Bieniemy was just, they didn't like the fit overall. There was speculation that they were, potential interest in Bieniemy, but there were never any reports confirmed of interviews or even requests for interviews or things like that. And so as you started to see naturally with the QB coaches, I'm sorry, the coordinators that had played QB with Gerard Johnson, with Cliff Kingsbury, with Kellen Moore, and they wanted someone who had that experience of playing quarterback, calling plays. Naturally, Bieniemy has that, but calling plays and then being someone who can coach up Jalen. Maybe they didn't feel like Bieniemy was going to be that spot. I think as a play caller, uh, I think he would have been okay and not necessarily bad. Even that Bieniemy's the type that's going to get in your face a little bit, going to hold you accountable, a little bit more abrasive maybe from the things of I talked about it in my last show, but even Pat Mahomes, I pulled his press conference interview from back in the offseason whenever Bieniemy went to Washington and the players were kind of like not exactly too happy with the way that Bieniemy's personality, and that's what Mahomes said. You know, Mahomes is like, hey, he's gonna hold you accountable. He's gonna basically get in your face at times, but you're gonna appreciate it because he made me better. So there were things to like with Bieniemy. Um, But yeah, as the question for Thousand Faces, was Bieniemy a primary play caller? I thought he wasn't during his time. He was not with Kansas City. No, even if they say like he had moments of play calls with the Chiefs, it was Andy Reid. Travis Kelce confirmed it on the New Heights podcast. If you didn't see the episode, it was back in like 2022. But Jason and Travis were talking about it. It's kind of funny too because like Jason says he's like, oh, I actually prefer that head coaches don't call plays. I think that's better. You know, you look at most of the teams that are good and do well. They don't call plays. They need to focus on situational things that only happen like once in a game. Blah blah blah. And the look on Travis's face, you know, as he's talking, is just kind of one of those like yeah, like you just it's one of those like you have a friend who's saying something and you want to be polite, so you're not gonna like call him out for being wrong. So you just kind of like yeah okay yeah, just kind of like politely agree when you don't really agree in that sense. And then the funny part was that Jason comes back to like basically ask Travis's thoughts and be like, yeah, you know, because like Andy doesn't call plays, right? And then that's where Travis was like, no, he calls plays. So you had your answer there. EB didn't really do as much with Kansas City, but that's not too surprising. As far as play calls, and then you know with running the football, passing, you probably get even less runs with Bieniemy than you will with Kellen Moore. So I don't know, a couple different. I was out on Frank Reich, so as far as you know Frank's possibility, I wasn't wanting him, but Jennifer, appreciate it. Just subscribe, Boise State fan here. There you go. Moore was an amazing quarterback and will be a great OC for the Eagles. I remember watching Kellen Moore several games, Boise State, just college games. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of irritated me with Boise. He was good. I can't remember why. I need to look up the schedule now. There was a reason. I don't know if it was he was playing our team or if it was just like annoying at how good they were. It might have been just annoying how good they were. So I apologize. Yep, I think that's what it was. Yeah. Let's see. Moore led Boise State to 50-3 record in his 40. That's what it was. Yeah. So, but appreciate you subscribing. I think he's great. I think we're going to be good. It's sometimes, you know, frustrating whenever you got a team that wins so often, and maybe the blue field didn't make things easier, but he was good. I remember it. I remember all the time being like, yep, there's Boise again. There's Kellen Moore. Appreciate the support, though. Trey says, do we get back to rotating the D-line, or was that really Gannon's implementation? I think that I would assume that we will. I think that we'll still rotate. Maybe not, but it feels like we have too many guys that have been drafted in Howie's scheme that I say Howie's scheme. I know, you know, maybe there's a flavor of that. Howie's involved, but too many guys that Howie has already gone out and been like, hey, we're going to have some depth. Maybe we have less because Fletch is probably not coming back, but I can't imagine that Fangio comes in and also Howie is like, oh, hey, by the way, you need to play some of these guys. Or he would be good if Fangio's like, I'm not really going to play him as much. Like they want to see Nolan on the field more. Sure, you're going to play Son, you're going to play Sweat, but you're going to see Nolan on the field more. You got to see Milton Williams on the field more. Got to rotate those guys. BG will play some, but I think you have too much invested there. JJ, am I the only one who thinks or feels like Sirianni's head coach days might still be numbered? I agree with you. I think they're numbered. I think he's got to do a lot. Vastiflow, what's up, man? Josh, it's 2 a.m. I know it is. The time is all over the place for me. My body clock is just a train wreck. I'm probably gonna hop off here in a second, but had to hang out for a little bit because the stream that we did, I think it was 20 or 30 minutes. Me and Thomas had hopped on first, whenever the report broke. But I had to get people's thoughts. We weren't able to engage as much with the comments, so I figured since I'm not going to be going to sleep anyway, I wasn't ready for sleep, I guess. Hop on here and chat birds. So, oh, this is good. This is Johnny Cage. Adam Schefter reports Nick has been demoted to head of car parking. Just about, because he's not really doing much, which is good though. Canucks Briggs, what's up? Howie should be on the hot seat. I mean, he's probably kind of on the hot seat, but yes, I wonder if he feels as much of the, I don't know, the pressure or the fire that he should be, as like based on some decisions or based on some mistakes, as like what we think that he should, versus Lurie, because I think that there's a very strong connection, understandably so. But yeah, he's missed several. Jason says rotating guys is an organizational belief. It's probably a huge reason Desai was demoted. Possibly so, yeah. Definitely is an organizational belief, though. JJ says, where can I get a Hertz Blitz shirt? I didn't even enter the giveaway, and I want one. I think it's just let me check. I think it was Fanatics where I got it, but it might be somewhere else. Yeah, it's just on Fanatics. Yeah, if you just type in Jalen Hurts, NFL Blitz shirt, whatever, it should come up. It is on Fanatics. So I'm going to do more of those. So I'm sorry you missed the giveaway. But for those that didn't, it's I'll be doing several of those. I had to do a Jalen Hurts one though, just because we're supporting him, So and we'll see. But it's sad because I was actually going to give away tickets to the NFC Championship game had we made it, and we didn't, or even the divisional round, honestly, because I didn't know how far we'd go. But I figured, sure as the world, at 10-1, like we're going to host a playoff game, and then we couldn't do that. So, but got a partnership with SeatGeek, so that's cool. Maybe give away more tickets than we did this season, but yeah, got the first sponsorship ever, so that's kind of it's weird. Like I'm super blessed, no doubt, super blessed. I had no clue about any of this YouTube world or any of it, but yeah, got a sponsorship on that side. In case anyone is looking for tickets, I'll throw the deal in the comments. If you want to, $20 off. If you haven't used SeatGeek or you want to go and grab some tickets, there's $20 off if you use that one. But sorry for the shameless plug. But it is a blessing. So let's see. There's a couple other comments I was going to get to here. Oh, Jennifer, come back. Remember J.H.I.? Yes. Glad I found your channel. Yep. Jordan, I saw this live, was like, this must be a replay. No, we're live. We're still live. Yep. Appreciate it, Johnny. Drowsiness kicking in. Go Birds. It's, yeah, there you go. See, Sydney family, it's only 7. Wait, it's not 7:15? Hang on. Is that? Wow, it's 7:15 in Australia. I thought the time difference wasn't that drastic. I know it is. It's significant with the Australian Open and trying to watch those matches, but 7:15. Well, appreciate you joining. Appreciate you hanging out as always. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was a little earlier. The look on Nick's face tells a story. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Was it Porcita? Pasita? I don't know if I'm saying that. I don't exactly know how to say that. But Josh, go to bed, man. As a European, it's morning, but it's dead of night in Philly area. It is, yes, and in Dallas area, it is 2:20 a.m. I'm about to hit it, but appreciate you hanging out and supporting. BK question here. Any news about AJ? No, nothing yet. I haven't heard anything. I saw like a commercial. I think it was was it a, I think was it a bounty commercial or something? But AJ and Devontae were in. He posted an ad about DraftKings, some DraftKings partnership or something like that. But other than that, haven't heard. So he's gonna stay though. There's no changes. He's not leaving. Josh as Eagles' future head coach. Bro, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, I've been told that I don't know if I necessarily see this, but some people have said you look like Sirianni or you look like, yeah, I guess similarities to Sirianni. But I can clap. I can cheer. Could be a cheerleader. Other than that, you don't want me doing anything else at all. Cool Ranger still on, Josh. Yep, we are. Let's see. Thousand Faces, congrats on the partnership. I appreciate it. Yeah, good one. See, that's the perfect name for the account there. Joke sauce along with this comment. That is perfect. Because that's not happening. Me or Thomas becomes head coach. We're not 17. We're 0-17, and you guys are hating us. There you go. Yes, Josh used to late nights with the little ones. That is where we're at. Vasta Flow, you're a night owl like many of us, Josh. Makes me happy. We want the draft already and to start the season again. Yep. Yeah. Thomas and I are very different in that. Thomas is a morning person, and I am a late night owl. But like a lot of you people, see, it's like here's is it Elisa? I would think it's Elisa. It might be Alyssa, so I apologize. But Elisa, it's 3:20. It is 3:20 in Philly. But we're awake. See, like this one here. I'm awake. Are you? We're all still awake. But yeah, Thomas is a morning person. So, but it kind of makes it better because Thomas is usually around like what 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Posting, maybe noon. And then for me, it's like, all right, we'll post a little later. We'll post sometimes in the mornings if I can work through some stuff, but more often it's at night. Paco, have you and Thomas thought of covering any other sports during the football off season? Not really. I mean, it's so ingrained, obviously, in the Eagles, and there's things going on all the time. So it makes it nice to just be able to year round, basically, cover the Birds. But, it's fun to talk other sports every once in a while. I get into the Premier League stuff. I'm a Chelsea fan, so if there's people that are supporting the Blues at all, there you go. But no, we're I think sticking to all Eagles coverage, all Eagles content. I appreciate this one though. Josh would have a better press conference than Nick. I mean, I don't know. I probably wouldn't tell you a lot of things, but I would at least avoid the whole like ramble for 3 minutes to not answer anything. I mean, that's the part that irritates me is whenever he gets asked a question and you don't get a single response or anything that means what the question was, or any insight into whatever. It's just talk for 3 minutes, and who knows what he just said, really. Lev, what's up? It's 1:23 here in Arizona. So it's early. It's still the night is young in Arizona. I forget about that. The time zone difference. You guys don't shift with the whole daylight savings. That was always weird working those different hours, because used to have a former coworker that was in Arizona base time. But let's see. Joke sauce. You're gonna watch the UFL? Maybe. Possibly. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Keep an eye on some different prospects, or just whatever. But yeah. Spurs. Okay. All right. That's fine. There you go. Aiden. Go Chelsea. Heck yeah. We'll have CFC all day. There we go. See, I knew there's some people here. Thousand Faces, understand the Chelsea love. I got to support my boys in Brighton. There. Okay, that's fine. I can understand that. Actually, believe it or not, whenever my wife and I we went to Europe, we've only taken one trip, but we watched them play. Let's see. I think it was Bournemouth whenever we were there. But we sat next to some people that were Brighton fans for some reason. I don't know why they were at a Chelsea game, but they were Brighton fans. And yeah, I had a really, really good conversation, learning more about, what the world in I don't know, I guess the UK in general, but just the Premier League and everything else. We've been a fan for a while, but it's a blast. I love visiting places, meeting new people, hanging out. So yeah, I got to go and see. Pulisic was on Chelsea then. It would have been what year was that? That would have been 2019, I think. It's running together. 2019 or 2020, something like that. But we lost. So my only game to actually see Chelsea play in person, we get beat by Bournemouth. Go figure. Here we go. Yeah, Cowboys fans in denial about Kellen Moore signing. Love it. I do too. It makes me happy. It's what gets me excited. Josh, you remind me of Jim from The Office, man. I appreciate that. I think that's a good thing. I like John Krasinski. I would appreciate the oh my gosh, my mind is I'm about to hop off because I'm losing it now. I can't think. What's the show with on Amazon for John? My gosh, Jack Ryan. That's it. Yeah, I would that'd be better. I would like that one. But no, I appreciate it. Paco, any news why Kelsey hasn't announced his retirement officially? He probably just waited till the end of the season. Like don't create any extra drama or anything else. Even with Travis still going on, there's also the speculation that Travis might be retiring at the end of the season too, so the brothers could retire at like the same time. That'd be kind of cool. I'd hate to see Jason be done, but. Sydney family. Ah, man, you dang. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, I actually went to so whenever we went and saw the Manchester Derby too. So I got to see Chelsea play Bournemouth, and then saw United beat City at the Etihad, 2-0. I think Rashford scored 2 goals. Been a little bit, but that was an experience. Seeing the Derby. Had to walk out of there. My wife had she was a trooper. She had gotten the flu like that night that we were there for the Manchester Derby. So we had to walk like 2 miles, and she had a 103 fever and everything. But she was like, no, 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 we're not missing the game. We want to go see the game, because she knew that I was excited about it. And I was like, if we need to stay, we can at the hotel. And she was like, no, 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 we're going. So that was a blast. That was a good time. Lisa, you said my name right the first time. Cool. Okay, good. Love your show. I run here when there's new news. Appreciate that. Try to keep everybody updated while at the same time, we can have a little fun with it and some jokes. Yeah, Jack Ryan, Reacher. I know all the shows are the same. At least as I do think Travis said he's not done yet. Yeah. Yeah. I think what we're talking about, like Jason, with him saying the big man's got more game in him if he wants it. I'm hoping that that's a positive sign. I really am. I'm hoping that's you know, Jason saying he might still keep playing. BC, hey, ever heard of a guy named Messi? I'm going to see him play this summer. Yes. Oh, yes. Messi is absolutely insane to see in person. I've only seen him once, but it was whenever Argentina was playing Mexico in Dallas at the AT&T Stadium. So me and a buddy went and saw him play. I mean, the dude literally has the soccer ball on a string. It's just attached to his foot. Like, it's ridiculous. Mexico actually got up 2-0 in that game, and then I can't remember which year it was, but it was just an exhibition, So Argentina kind of messing around. Mexico got up 2-0, and then Messi just made the most ridiculous, like, dribbling through several defenders, passed it over to I can't think of who that would have been that was scored. It might have been Higuain maybe, or I think I can't remember, but whoever it was, ridiculous pass, scored 2 goals, quickly got it back to 2-2. I think it tied. I think it ended up 2-2. So, yeah, that should be fun. He is one of a kind, absolute legend. I try to go see legends if I can. If I'm ever in a spot to be able to go see him, like, so again, we cover the birds. That's the biggest love, but who doesn't love sports and seeing like the best of the best? Like I was in New York for Jeter's final game at Yankee Stadium. I just love moments like that. You can't. It's YOLO. You got to take advantage of those when you can. So that should be fun. Ricky says, do you think Vic vibing with the defense like he didn't in Miami being a concern? I don't. It's I think half of that is just Drew Rosenhaus trying to cover for his players. Maybe I'm wrong, but some of the guys didn't play well, didn't play up to par. Possibly just being like, yeah, there's some concerns, and Fangio, the guy's not liking him. Maybe didn't put him in the best spots or whatever. To me, it's not a concern. And hey, you know what? Maybe there's legit to that, but it could be that Fangio wanted to be gone, right? Like, because if it's not a mutual agreement, like let's say he does a good job, he can't just move to a defensive coordinator role unless that team allows him to leave. Basically, there's not a lateral transition in the NFL without the agreement from the other team. So like the same thing with Jim Bob Cooter, for example, like he was linked to Philly for a while with the OC, but it's like he can't just move to Philly as an OC. He can't stay with the OC position. So it could have been Vic, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying he did this, and I don't believe that he did, but just a theory. Like, would he have somewhat sandbagged it as he starts seeing Philly doing poor at the very end of the season, going like, okay, they're going to have a new DC. I need to figure out my end game here. How do I get out of Miami and get back to Philly? Because we know that he prefers Philly local, and wanted to be here. Jonathan Gannon screwed that for him. So maybe he saw the writing on the wall, and he goes like, all right, hey, let's head back over that way. Maybe not, but I'm definitely not concerned about, he's going to have issues here, guys not liking his scheme, whatever. I think people will be bought in. JJ, bro, what are you saying? How he gets CD from a trade mid-draft. If I'm wrong, I'm buying everyone's Super Bowl tickets. Get ready to buy people Super Bowl tickets. Bro, if that happened, it's not, but even any ridiculous trade. Who would trade with Howie anymore? Although I guess we got kind of fleeced on a couple, so I shouldn't say that. GG says, I'm liking the Kellen Moore Fangio hire. I'm liking the Kellen Moore Fangio hire. I'm still not sure about it. That's fair. I can understand that. Scheme wise, Fangio, possibilities. Can he get things figured out? But you're going to see some changes too. So I think it'll be better than it was. That's a given. But Reb, do you have a link to the Eagles LED thing on the wall? Yes, I do. Here, I'll put it in, and this will be the live chat. So it's gonna go away once this thing ends. So you might want to save this whenever I put it up here. But there you go. There's the link to the LED thing, the LED light. I guess whatever you call it, thing, logo. I found it randomly. You'll see that from the site. It's legit. Like I ordered it from it. It may not look legit. It may seem strange, but came across it, took a chance. Was like, hey, looks pretty cool. Let's put it up there. So, but yeah, it's worked for quite a while now. All right, I'm gonna jump off here in just a second. Let's end it with predictions for the scores today, or I don't know where you're at. I guess there's probably not any more that are still in Saturday by this point, but predictions for the games. Who we got in the Super Bowl? Last bit here. I'm gonna jump off probably in 5 minutes or so, but Andrew, though, says, I grew up in a 3-4 defense from Pop Warner all the way to high school, made to stop the run and get after the quarterback. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. We're going to have to get used to Hassan Reddick probably. It won't be more than what he started dropping in coverage, but he will drop in coverage some. You'll see some, maybe other pass rushers that we wouldn't necessarily want to drop in coverage a bit. It'll be on occasion, but I don't think it'll be. It won't be as bad because they'll be coached up better. They'll be more familiar with it, and I think Fangio can be the guy to solve those problems. So, all right, yeah, some of the predictions here. So, Joran, Lions 27-21. Man, I hope the Lions win. I so hope the Lions beat the Niners. It doesn't work for the logo. The logo says it's going to be the Niners, but hopefully we're right. Ryan Goodwood, Lions Ravens. There you go. Cole Rains, Ravens 49ers. Canucks Briggs, Ravens Lions. Joke Sauce, Ravens and Lions. 100-3. Come on. City Family, thanks, Josh. Lions Ravens, appreciate it. Is there anybody that feels like the Chiefs? The Ravens 42-38, Ravens 30-27, Niners a blowout, Ravens 9 kicks and cuts. Paco, here's the Chiefs. Okay, the first Chiefs that I've seen, but Paco Sindako. Lions and Chiefs. Now that would be two shocking upsets. Let's say that. I feel like me personally, I have the Ravens, and I don't want the Niners to win, but unfortunately, like if I had to pick, I'd say it's Ravens and 49ers both winning and making it a Super Bowl. Hope I'm wrong. Joke sauce. Script writers wanting to believe the logo theory, wanting us to believe the logo theory. Yeah, pushing that more. Andrew, hey, Lions 33-29, and then Ravens 34-27. I hope so. Philly fan, Ravens, Lions. JJ pouring salt in the wound. Elisa, Lions and Ravens. Would love to see the Lions win it all. I'm perfectly fine with that. That would be so great. I don't want. I don't want the Niners. That's just the one that I don't. Even though I think it will be. I hope it's like this though. Andrew says Purdy 19 for 27, 198, a touchdown and 2 ints. Yeah, hopefully so. He's gonna give some chances, I think, but it's tough. I feel like they're gonna win. They're favored. What 7.5 is the favorite or the spread? And then also the Ravens are 4-point favorites over Kansas City. I don't know. I try to follow Vegas too quite a bit and what they're predicting, but the fact that a lot of money is coming on Kansas City at +4, it just makes me wonder. Kind of think that that's not going to happen. I don't know. We'll see. Kicks and cuts. Are the Chiefs really an upset that Andy Reid? I think that's a question. It still would be an upset though. I mean, I get what they are, what they've done, and everything else, but like the Ravens, as dominant as they've been, that'd be an upset. Follow the water. I'll answer this one. We've been in here for quite a while, but I'll answer it again too. But why do you like the Kellen Moore hire? I don't have much confidence in the hire. I don't have confidence in that hire. Okay, that's fine. Again, I can understand pros and cons for every single potential hire. Even for me, I like it. I think it's going to be good. There's a couple reasons. First off, you're going to see receivers that are going to actually have routes run that make sense worth anything. So let's start there. I've shared it with people. We've seen it for a number of times on this stream. But here you go. Here's Keenan Allen, Kellen Moore, scheming up Keenan Allen. Those are beautiful routes. That is a fantastic scheme, moving him all over the field. You can't predict where he's going to be. Running a variety of routes, clean-looking routes, helping the quarterback with the eyes. So many things there, right? Great game plan. So again, you got one game there, but still, that's on that side. Now, take it over to the Devontae Smith. Here is a game from, this is just one game, but there's a number of these, and you can go and look up if you want to. Next Gen Stats, take a look at Devontae Smith's route running. That is something that my 2-year-old has done on our door. Like, she could draw that with a crayon. So there's going to be a lot better wide receiver routes, and you're not going to have to worry about Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown being utilized, being put in a lot better spots. They have done really well. We know that. I mean, A.J. an All-Pro, Devontae close, hasn't been, but close to Pro Bowl. He should be even. I think he could be an All-Pro. You're going to scheme him open, and you're going to get so many better results for both those guys, and it's going to make life easier where they don't have to just win based on their skill level. Devontae is a Heisman winner. He's proven. Dude should be lined up in the slot so often and should be put in motion all the time. Like, I think he could be utilized a lot more likely to a CeeDee Lamb than he has been. And so, again, I'll say potential there is huge with the wide receivers. Also, there's the other difference that you're going to get. It's not going to be the same old offense and predictable. So you've got the motion rate that we already know, 30-second motion rate. The Eagles, Chargers were 6th, which is 68% motion pre-snap. And then even with the Cowboys before, Kellen Moore was 54%. So he likes motion. He's going to utilize motion. It's going to keep the defense honest. It's going to help Jalen with checks at the line. He's going to see what he likes, be able to, I guess, audible or change up some things too. But Kellen Moore will help him. He'll be that voice. And also Eagles, as someone had mentioned earlier, but the Eagles were 89% of the time out of the gun. And Kellen Moore is not out of the gun that much. He's going to be under center. He's going to have a variety of different plays, a variety of different looks. It'll honestly probably even help out the run game, like we were talking about. The run game is going to have to be, or is going to keep teams honest because you'll have Jalen under center, and you're going to have to say, oh, are they doing a run play here? Is it a play action? Stoutland is going to be able to scheme up things off of it as the run game coordinator. So I like it. Again, there's some potential negatives for anything. You could say we might not run the ball great, but we didn't run the ball great this year in terms of percentages and how often we did it. So I don't think that's going to be a drastic change. Kellen Moore has been an offensive coordinator. When he was in Dallas, second. The offense was second most in scoring. The Chiefs were the only team that, or the Chiefs were number one. Dallas was number two in the 4 years that Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator. I think there's just a lot to like with that. And then also too, let's see, there's one other. Here, I'll throw up this one too. I like this tweet as a possibility, or an argument, I guess. But this was from Anthony DeBona outside the Birds, but said, I see people blaming Justin Herbert's struggles last season on Kellen Moore. It's time to play a game and put things into perspective. Let's imagine that Jalen Hurts missed 4 games, A.J. Brown missed 14 games, Devontae Smith missed 4 games, and DeAndre Swift missed 3 games. Yet then Hurts still threw for, and you see right there, 3,134 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 ITs. Would you be upset with that? I think we'd all be happy. Like, that's not bad numbers considering you're missing big-time playmakers, you yourself get injured, and you've got, limited weapons there to begin with. So Kellen Moore's coming into an offense where he's going to have more guys to play, better weapons in general, but being able to scheme them open, and Jalen can take that next step. And, say what you will, but Kellen's been able to prove to help Dak and take him to another level as well. So, again, I'm trying to sell you on it, obviously, but I'm not saying it's perfect, but out of the options that we had, I think that he's probably the best decision, and I'm also happy, too, that there was a decisiveness on it. So, anyway, for what that's worth, I had to throw that one out there. Hopefully it makes you feel a little bit better, but... Danny says here, no more screen passes on 3rd and 20. See, that's one of the other issues, or one of the other parts that we don't have to worry about as much. Follow the water. All of the inside zone runs from shotgun was so predictable. See, there's a change. You're not going to have that. Danny's asked, do you think this hiring will bring the offense back to life? Yes, I do. I think it will. It will bring the offense back to life. We're going to see much improved, big difference. We were what, 7th, I think, in points per game. So that's the part we also have to remember. Like, and it's hard because I've gone back and forth on it. There's I'm trying to be optimistic, but not too optimistic. There's a little bit of realism, but this group was 7th in points per game. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I'm telling you correctly. But let me double check this. Yes, seventh in points per game. I'll throw this up here too so you can see it. There you go. Philly 7th in points per game. Took a step back from last season or 2 seasons ago, however you want to view it, but 7th in points per game. That's literally all on the talent. So, like, if you want to question the scheme of play calling, totally, that's all there. But on talent alone, this group was the 7th best offense. You can't say, oh, well, Brian Johnson, helped him, did a good job, he helped put him in good spots. Sirianni did the same thing. No, none of that. They were atrocious. If anything, they hurt them. They took them back. They made it too predictable. They made it very easy to plan on this offense. But with the skill that we have, the talent that we have, the O-line that we have, the receivers, the running game, if it's Swift, I would love for Swift to say he probably won't, so you got to get a different running back. But still, you have that with Jalen even. He might have taken a very slight regression, but his expected completion percentage versus actual was much higher than it should have been. Like, he performed really well. So those tight window throws, more often, based on what the analytics say, he shouldn't have completed it. and he did. So, I would just say the optimistic side, the reason to be happy about it, is that there's talent on this team that is proven, that the statistics show that, and you're going to now get that added with a good offensive coordinator that can put these guys in spots, that is going to maximize their talent and usage. So I think I think what's not to like about the hire? Again, I guess I shouldn't say that because we can always dislike something, but it's going to be very positive. The offense will be humming more than it has been. There you go. Ultra Ego. More I'm thinking about it, I'm liking it more. Me too. The more that I dive into it, the more that I hear the Cowboys fans hating on it, the more that I'm liking it. I think it's going to be fine. Cool Range. You look tired, Josh. Yes, I'm getting tired. I'm about to. I think I think I'm gonna hop off. It is 2:50 here, but um, I'll answer a couple more and then we're gonna hop off. Hodge for 3. Do we have a legitimate guard to replace Cam Jurgens? I don't know. Hopefully we don't have concerns. But Tyler Steen is a potential. He played okay. I'm curious to see if that's a legit answer or if they're going to try to draft someone or what. But I think he can be okay. You got him, tried to move him into that position. He played a couple times. Cam Jurgens is probably going to slide to center because most likely, in my mind, I'm feeling like Kelsey's going to go. So I'm not too concerned for this year. Now, long term, it's getting to be time to draft someone for Lane Johnson's backup and or maybe a right guard, depending on how they feel about this. But Cam Jurgens needs to be at center. He was okay at right guard. I'm going to say that he was not good. You guys may agree, may disagree. He needs to be center. That's his natural position. He was serviceable at right guard, but I think that you'll see a big improvement when he does move to center. Be like, okay, you know what? That looks more natural. He should be there. That's taking advantage of his skills. So move him to center. That'll work out. And then you just got to see, is it Tyler Steen or do you get somebody else? Question here from Ricky. Do you have more confidence in fixing the D or more fixing the offense? The good question. More fixing the offense. The offense was so stagnant. It's a high school offense. Go look at Brett Coleman's video. It's incredible of a breakdown. If you haven't seen it, Brett's awesome with so much different breakdown. He's also got stuff on the Chargers, so go watch his video. Brett breaks it down really, really good. So what to look forward to in Kellen Moore's offense, as well as how bad the Philadelphia Eagles offense has been. Both of those. Go watch those videos, and I think you'll come away from it being like, all right, this dude, he can make things happen. Like, he's going to change this offense because of how bad it was for one, and lack of creativity, and then how good Kellen Moore is with his scheming and with his philosophy. So as long as Nick gets out of the way, that's the only concern. As long as Nick gets out of the way, we should be fine. Jordan, Josh, send this Alaska boy to Philly for the first time. I'll wait. I'd love to. I'm going to give away tons of tickets. Again, got the sponsorship with SeatGeek now, so we're going to give away tickets like we did last season, but probably a lot more this next season. We just got to wait, unfortunately, a long time. But yeah, we're definitely going to give away tickets. JJ, I was going to sleep, honestly, then I saw Josh was live and I killed my sleep time. I'm sorry. That's I did that. I did it. It's it it is. I had to hop on here again, get y'all's thoughts and everything else. So I think I'm gonna jump off though. It is very late and I do need to probably get some sleep, as I'm gonna need to help the wife to quite a bit. So she's the true MVP. You guys know that with kids. But yeah, appreciate everyone hanging out. This is awesome, really fun. I'm excited. Like I say, Kellen Moore is going to be good. Have some faith. It'll be for sure better, but I think it'll be drastically, markedly better with this offense. There will be some growing pains. I will say that. I expect early to just work through some stuff, but I think long term, when you at the end of the season take a look at the offense, see the creativity, see that it's not as so predictable and just high school offense really. It's going to be great, but Yeah, we'll have shows and everything else. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate the support. More shows coming next week, and keep you posted on any signings for, sorry, I should say hirings for coordinators. Or I guess, sorry, not coordinators. We have our coordinators. I need sleep for our positional coaches. So you guys know what it is. But appreciate it as always. Get some sleep. Have a great day tomorrow. Enjoying some maybe Lions win and Ravens win. But until next time, we'll see you guys. Go Birds.